Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I'm Ross Marion.
And I'm Todd Anderson.
We got Rob in the booth. Say welcome back, Rob.
Welcome back, Rob.
How nice of you to say that. Rob's been on vacation for a little over a week now.
Yeah.
So welcoming him back to the booth. Rob's going to be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. I imagine, Rob, that you've had some FOMO here because of how sweet Modern Horizons 2 is.
I mean, how could I not?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Rob like a little bit last week when he was on vacation. I was like, let me know when you get back. And he's like, sorry, I missed your 2 episodes. You've been here for 2 months, and I just like go on vacation, and then Senator's like, get in the booth, son. So, yeah, we missed you, Rob.
Well, I miss being here, so
All right.
all around.
So we were playing some more Modern Horizons 2, this time with some results from this past weekend, a couple challenges going on,
Yep.
a lot of people streaming, playing with new cards, so everybody else gets to catch up to the fun that we've been having here on Versus Live. And my first deck is going to come from one of those streamers. This is from Doomwake, and one of the more hyped deck lists from over the weekend. It is a Golgari Food. There are a lot of different builds of this. There's a Sultai build with Emery as well. But the basic idea here is we're using Asmore and Underworld Cookbook along with some of the food cards from Eldraine to power out Feasting Troll Kings.
Yeah, I think Feasting Troll King was the big one that people kind of realized with, Underworld Cookbook was like kind of nuts. That plus the creature that comes back whenever you get an artifact.
Oval Chase
Daredevil coming back over and over again just allows you to have this food engine. And with both Cauldron Familiar and Feasting Troll King, you have like a lot of these like kind of free reanimation cards. It feels a lot like you're playing like Dredge.
Yeah, but you get that resilient element of Dredge.
Yeah.
Which is really, really important. And that's where Daredevil came in. I saw some lists pre-Daredevil, and I looked at them, and I thought, like, yeah, you're going to have some games where you turn to a Troll King, and that looks really cool. But it seemed difficult to me to reload, and Daredevil is the card that really helps you reload. Yep. There's so many different ways to find your copies of the Underworld Cookbook, between Asmore triggering, drawing them naturally, or finding them off of Urza's Saga, which you can also find Witch's Oven.
Can you imagine if Oko was in that deck?
I prefer not to think about Oko existing.
That's fair. Yeah.
My life is better that way.
That's true. Okay, so this Golgari deck, it's the real deal. And we have a bunch of decks that we're trying out today. I'm still in full brew mode. I brought 3 like completely untested, uncharted decks that are, they're like somewhat familiar. They contain familiar elements, but at the same time, their cores are drastically different than the things that you've been used to. And this Golgari deck, it's something else, man. I've watched a couple streamers play with it already. Played against it a few times on Magic Online since this weekend, and it looks gross.
Yeah, it does really, really powerful things. Cookbook and Asmore, definitely an unheralded combo from Modern Horizons 2 that is making its presence known.
Yep. From my side today, I'm going to be playing Golgari Storm. Is that what we're calling it?
Gruel.
Oh, sorry.
Got it. Come on, Todd. You know your color combinations.
I know. Okay, that's fair. I just, I was going Golgari. That's my bad. But we're not calling it that. That's a Cedric deck name. He can start it. He can brand it like that all he wants. But when we're in the booth, it's Squirrel Blitz, because we're playing 4 copies of Chatterstorm, aka Nutshot. I don't know if I can say that, but it's like Gutshot, but with squirrels and nuts. You get it.
I would think Grape Shot, but with nuts.
Grape Nuts instead of Grape Shot?
No, it's a Nut Shot because squirrels hide nuts, and instead of Grape Shot because they're both 2-mana sorceries that have Storm and do one thing.
Okay, so what are you saying it should be called?
Well, we've said it enough already, so you may as well just keep going with it, I guess.
Okay, it's Nutshot. Whatever you said is wrong.
It's Chatterstorm, but
it is Chatterstorm. You're ruining the bit.
You're the one who compared it to Gutshot. That doesn't even make sense.
It's literally, instead of doing 1 to a thing, it makes a 1/1. It costs 1 and a green instead of 1 and a red.
Hence Grape Shot, deal 1 to a thing with Storm as a 2-mana sorcery.
Okay, what do you think Chatterstorm does?
It makes a 1/1 with Storm.
Yeah.
2-mana sorcery.
Yeah.
So the
You said almost all the same words.
Exactly.
You said almost all the same words.
But you compared it to Gutshot, not Grape Shot.
Oh, you're right. I meant Grape Shot.
Yes, exactly. I'm right. That's all I wanted to hear, and now we can move on.
Okay, so that's the... Okay, whatever. All right, let's just get into the games.
I've got the marbles, so you're going to go first.
All right. Well, I'll keep.
Didn't you miss this, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
I will also keep.
All right. I'm gonna go to 19. Play an Arbor Elf.
Oh, the most threatening card
The most threatening?
for turn 1. I'm gonna go to 18 and cycle a Street Wraith.
Oh no, Asmar Dama Ding Dong.
Then I'll play and crack a Verdant Catacombs.
Street Wraith enabling Asmar Ragalak Metreon Zinthos is pretty gross.
Asmore. Just get a swamp, so I'll go
Do
to
you even know how to
17.
say the whole thing?
God, no.
Are you about to play it?
Yep.
All right. It's. I actually did this morning. It's Asmar Anonomardic. No, I messed it up. Asmorano Mardica Dastina Koldakar. But I did it in the voice of Hank Hill.
Asmorana, Mardagastic, yep, still can't do it.
You just break it into 4 pieces and it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Also, Tannen has said he's learned while doing the podcast, you just let Ross be right.
Oh, well, that's never happening because have you met Ross? I don't like letting him know he's right. All right, green, untap, green. Oh, storm 1 for Burning Tree. Make green, red. 2-mana Morphos. Storm 3. Manamorphose, Storm 4. I'll make green, green. I'll play Thrasta. And I'm in a battle for that many.
This is going to be tough.
We're doing the thing. The best part, though, is that we're doing the thing, and I'm probably still going to lose.
Okay, I'll go to 10.
Roar! All right, 17. Canter. All right, on your upkeep, I'm going to look at your top card. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe we should have actually held Wild Cantor in case, because it's kind of like a free spell in case we draw like a Chatterstorm or whatever. But it being like a 1/1 for Chatterstorm is the same as casting it, so. The 1 extra mana might be somewhat useful, and the body might be useful as well.
I think I need to take one more turn off to set up. Yeah, I'm going to play a cookbook and an oven
Okay,
and pass the turn.
look at your top card. Okay. All right, so untap, we'll double bobble and then draw for turn, so we draw 3.
Yep.
One, two, three. Do I even need to do that? Let's see, so you have a 3/3. So if I attack with these 2, you're at 10. If I attack with these 2, just eat that. So if I attack with just this, that's fine. If I attack with these 3, that's fine. 3, 4, 5. Okay, attack for 7.
I will go to 3.
Okay. Let's make 3. I'm going to play Priest of Urbrask, make 3 red. Use this to make a green. We'll play this. Go to
Herbalist
2 green and 2 red. And then I'll Chatterstorm for 3. Make 3 squirrelies.
Okay.
And sure go.
On your end step, I'll use cookbook, discarding Cauldron Familiar. Get a food.
Okay,
Sack that food, return the familiar.
that's pretty good.
So you'll go to 16, I'll go to 4. And then I will sack it to the oven.
All right.
Forest, Get a second food that way.
Watching Ross squirm is fun. I think he's going to win. Although it's going to be hard if he can't get Thrasta off the table. Thrasta is big and tramples. Asmore makes, does the 6 damage or whatever. So if he can find a way to like survive the Alpha Strike next turn, sack 2 food, kill that thing. But it's going to be hard unless he puts a Troll King into play this turn.
Second food.
All right, we got any questions or whatever? While Ross sits in the tank.
Hesteus did have a good suggestion for the name for a new name for the Golgari food deck, and that's Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, Hell's Kitchen is pretty good. I like that a lot. I really want to come up with better deck names, man. I can't stand Golgari food. I actually thought Golgari Licious might be a good one.
Not big on all the X colors, mid range, tempo, aggro.
No, we had a match last Tuesday where the decks were both labeled mid range, and mine was like a blink deck or something and his was like a Lurid. I don't know. It was stupid. It's just they're trying to simplify things, but by simplifying things, you lose the identity of the deck itself, and you don't even necessarily portray the correct information.
2, 4, 6, 10.
All right. As a judge, level 0 judge, I'm going to need you to make a play.
I think I'm dead.
Okay. Also acceptable.
So all I have is another oven. What I really needed was another cookbook. Drawing second oven was awkward. And this awkward smuggler's copter. I have 2 Troll Kings in my hand, but I just can't put enough power for one turn. Your 3 draws off the 2 baubles, and for turn were quite good.
Yeah. Look, that little bit of extra pressure was really what did it.
Yep. And so what I can do is bring back Cauldron Familiar, go to 5. You would go to 15, and then Crew Copter, sack Copter to Oven, sack Familiar to Oven, discard, bring back, and then have 2 blockers, but I'd be at 5, and so I'd block here, and take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 1 trample is 9. I'd be at -4. Alternatively, I can just play these, return Familiar, go to 5, Crew Copter, then sack the Familiar to Oven, return it again, go to 6, have 3 blockers and a cycle up to 7. But then I'm taking the full 7 presumably from this, or I'm going block, take 1, go to 6, block here, and then this is 8, so I'd be at -2.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's nothing I can do. I think
Right.
one more turn.
Shasta Cola strikes again. All right, chat. What's chat's best name for the squirrel deck? That's what I want to know.
I haven't seen any really. They were definitely on your side about wanting crazier deck names, though. I don't know if anybody suggested
Hell's Kitchen's
one
such
for...
a good name for your deck. Holy crap.
It's good.
Yeah, that's good.
All
All right.
The really important thing there is that that Thrasta is a 7 toughness creature, so Asmore's activated ability doesn't kill it.
I'm so glad they didn't randomly make it like a 7/6 or something silly.
That would have made that game a lot easier. Than that, I would have won very easily.
Yeah. I think if you were on the play, you probably win too, because you just get Feasting Troll King down super fast. Super fast.
Yeah, I agree. I would win that game on the play.
Well, you got the marbles. That's the only disadvantage. And man, it's not really that big of a disadvantage half the time. Just get an extra card. Get him off the top and taught me that.
Did he now?
He did. All right. You're on the play for game number 2.
Somebody wants to be Dino Storm because Thrasta is the real star, they say. There's squirrely bits, angry squirrels, cheeky tribal.
Cheeky tribal? Wow. Well, if there were more actual squirrels in here, then yeah, maybe.
Ice Age Storm.
Cheeky tribal's nice.
Maybe a little bit of a deep cut. Oh, oh here's a good one from his days. Burning Nutwhacker.
Okay. How's yours?
Don't think this is very good.
Okay.
I'm gonna mulligan.
All right, so I have the classic hand when you play decks like this, where it's all enablers or all payoffs. You always have to mulligan the all payoffs, but I often keep the all enablers because if you draw one of your 8 payoffs, you just go ballistic. But this hand I think is fine. Obviously, if we just draw more mana dorks or lands and don't draw the payoff, we might just do nothing for a few turns. But nothing is still not that bad. We could literally just put 8 power on the battlefield on turn 2 and be fine with it. See if we can get there that way.
Just 8 power.
Look, that's not that good in Modern. It's good against Path to Exile deck or whatever. It's not good against Anger of the Gods, Asmarama Damalama Ding Dong. Whoa, Black Brother. Seem like you're in some pain over there.
Yeah, hand is just not good. I've got the Urza Saga to find one piece, but I kind of need both because I've got just Daredevil and Familiar, and that's all I've got going on. I have no way to dig. I'm just going to mulligan again.
That's fine. Got anything for us, Rob? No, it's fine. I can just spitball.
No, I did have a question from earlier from Histeus. So they said they saw an Aspiring Spike Arclight Phoenix deck. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but it was playing.
I watched Spike stream all day yesterday before I started streaming.
It was playing Faithless Salvaging in an Arclight Phoenix deck. Do you think that's a real thing, or do you think people should just kind of abandon really trying to build Phoenix decks?
Well, if you watched the stream, you would have seen that he did very poorly with it.
That's true.
And I don't think that was an accident.
I mean, I don't know.
Not a fan of Faithless Salvaging.
It's not that I don't like Faithless Salvaging itself. If it was just draw one, discard one instead of discard one, draw one, it would be 1,000 times better. Unfortunately, that's just not how red cards work ever, which is very unfortunate. But I don't know. He actually ended up cutting his Fire Tempers too, which I think you definitely should not do when you're playing that card. He was also playing Thing the Ice with a bunch of other creatures in the deck. He was playing the
Tide Regent,
the Dragon Shaman, the new Surveil one, whose name I can't remember ever. But I don't know. I think you can shove all in, be aggressive, and play Mono Red Phoenix in that deck. And that card would be probably pretty dope in a Mono Red Phoenix with 4 Fire Tempers and Dragon Rage Channeler. Figured it out. I remembered it. And stuff like that, but
okay,
definitely not Faithless Looting.
Gotta go for this.
All right, you're up.
I will lead on a Cycle Street Wraith, go to 18.
Ooh, brick.
And then I will play Asmor and Ramalama Ding Dong.
There you go. Cool to car.
Find a cookbook.
Yep. That's pretty good. Your go.
Playing Urza Saga.
Yep.
Play a Copter and get in for 3.
17.
Pass the turn. I think a lot of Todd's combo turns either involve just making a bunch of squirrels and not attacking yet, or making a 7/7. The only time leaving Asmor back is going to be good is if he has a Reckless Bushwhacker turn. And even that really only blocks the actual Reckless Bushwhacker.
All right, I'm going to go to 14. Yep. And bad news for Ross. I drew a payoff. So we're going to do some cool stuff this turn. Green, red, untap, float. Let's make 3 red. 3 red. Green, red, red. Go to red, green. Red, green. Sagas for a green. Shasta.
Okay, I'll go to 11.
Go. I mean, this is what we do. I don't know. It's my old deck. Oh, man. I thought it would be harder to use the mana from Priest of Urbrath. It's been, like, surprisingly great. Thanks to Cantor and Burning Tree.
So me just making a construct and blocking with Copter and Asmore. I guess I can literally survive. But it would involve me literally chumping away the Asmore and the Copter and not dealing with any part of Todd's battlefield. So I don't think I would have any outs at that point. But what outs do I have by doing other things? Because I have drawn literal all lands.
Aww.
I mean, I can sack a peatland, or I can crew Copter with Asmore and get one more look. I'm just trying to think if there's anything that look can do, and I don't think there is.
I don't think so. 1 to 5 definitely hurt.
Yeah, and the other 2 cards were just Goose, Land.
Yeah.
I just flooded a little bit. None of my hands were particularly good. Copter is just really, really slow. Like in a matchup like this, it just hasn't been good.
That's like maybe okay in like other matchups where you just like have time, but you know, it's like playing against combo or whatever.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Woo! Shasta. This is what we call a glass cannon strategy.
Yeah. So we are going to take a quick break here, get some sideboarding set up, and finish out this match between Squirrel Blitz and Golgari Food. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Golgari Food and Squirrel Blitz. On my side of things, going to try to get just a little bit disruptive. Todd's deck has very few payoffs, and if you strip it, the deck doesn't do a whole lot besides put some 2/2s and 2/1s onto the battlefield.
Which I feel like you could beat pretty easily.
Yes. So I'm going to be bringing in my Thought Seizes. Normally a card that you'd be wary of in a matchup like this just because they become dead so quickly.
Yeah.
But I have so many ways to pitch extra cards that I don't need.
Bingo.
That you mitigate that downside as well. Cutting my slow, grindy cards because that's not needed in this matchup. Just need to disrupt you early and stop those really explosive draws. So that's why Smuggler's Copter and Life from the Loam coming out. And hopefully we just don't get turn 2 thrasted for the 3rd time in a row.
Well, you know, I would prefer that you did, personally. So from my side, I know I just talked a little up about Priest for Brass, but really it's just a free 2/1. And, like, a free 2/1 is good, but, you know, Tormod's Crypt is another free spell that we can kind of just swap out here for Priest. Tormod's Crypt, in this matchup, you know, I can play it on turn 0 to kind of protect myself from an early Feasting Troll King if I think that's what's going to be happening. I can also, like, wait for Ross to, like, sack a bunch of the food tokens before I even pop the Tormod's Crypt, but I have to be careful because he could just do it again in response if he has 6 of them. But mostly it's just a free card that I can play that can kind of fuel my other stuff while still interacting with the graveyard. I like that I can play it aggressively. I think I like it more than I like Endurance, but I think Endurance and Tormod's Crypt both fit this deck very well, and I'm not really sure which one's best. Probably should have just played Endurance as a tester, though.
I like that Tormod's Crypt you can play to enable your turn 2 explosive starts without needing it to be without needing to use it.
Yeah. Another card I considered trimming instead of Priest of Urbrass was Wild Canter. It was actually one of the worst cards for me so far, but specifically it does work well with Priest. So if I left the Priest in and cut Wild Canter, there's a chance that I would not be able to use the triple red mana. But like I do really well to be able to use it in the other game. So I don't know.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Got any questions for us, Rob, while we shuffle up for game 3?
I do. How important is the Oval Chase Daredevil to this deck? Is it just there to combo with Cookbook?
But, yeah, it's mainly there to combo. I assume there are games where you cast them if you really need to. But it is very important, as we said before the match started, to give the deck longevity. Yep. Otherwise, you would be using a lot of resources to generate food. especially with Cookbook, which is your primary source of food because you have so many ways to tutor for it. And being able to generate food with Cookbook without actually depleting your hand means that you can continue to bring back Troll Kings over and over and over again as the game goes along, and that's going to be really important.
Big thing too is you get the food tokens for Asmore, and Asmore allowing you to just kind of shoot down all your opponent's creatures with a bunch of food tokens. Like it's hard to describe exactly how good Oval Chase Daredevil is in the deck until you like play against it in a longer game. But like that longevity that it helps you develop, it's very similar to old school zombie infestation decks. If you've been playing a while, they used to play Squee Goblin Nabob, and you would just continually pitch Squee Goblin Nabob and bring it back, and it would just keep generating more and more zombies for you. So it's good.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah, have you also seen the variant of the food deck that plays Stitcher Supplier instead of Smuggler's Copter? I know you're not. I think you were saying before you weren't particularly high on that card in this deck.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different variants with different cards. I think Stitcher Supplier makes a ton of sense. Definitely a card I would want to personally play in the list. Any point where you can lower your curve and play more 1-drops, fewer 2-drops, you're going to make your deck that much more explosive and that much more consistent, really.
Yeah, the deck's not really aggressive. I think Feasting Troll King gives you chunks of damage mixed with inevitability, where Smuggler's Copter just feels like this weird aggressive card in the deck that obviously helps enable discard stuff. But I don't think you really need that much help. I feel like so many ways to enable Cookbook and find Cookbook. It's just great as your discard outlet, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right.
I'm on the play.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can do some cool things.
I have another hand with all enablers and no payoff, but I'm going to keep and hope I get lucky again.
I'm sort of just a weird collection of things. It doesn't really come together. I'm trying to think how quickly it could come together if I drew well, but it's still not going to do a whole lot. I could draw Asmore, and then I would have to literally Thoughtseize myself to play the Asmore. And then all I would have is that going on. I think you just got a mulligan hands like this that need so much help off the top.
I mean, I think with the Thoughtseize, maybe not. It's not as explosive, but I don't know. I feel like maybe you have to rely on your deck to try to grind through those games, but maybe you can't keep that in this specific matchup. I do like the Thoughtseize, though. Yeah,
I would be a lot more apt to keep a slower hand in a matchup where I wasn't so fearful of the top of your deck.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that's a hand where I would Thoughtseize you and maybe take a Thrasta or a Reckless Bushwhacker or Chatterstorm, and we would just sit there until you drew another one, and it would just be a race between the tops of our decks.
Sure.
And I'd prefer not to get into a race like that.
All right. Any questions while he's shuffling it?
Do you think that Dredge could play Cookbook over Shriekhorn?
Actually sounds kind of rad.
You would have to radically alter your creature package to take advantage of the food.
I agree with that, but I like the idea of a 1-mana discard outlet, but the mill top of your deck was always a little random, but discard outlets that sit and play are kind of cool.
But there are games where, you keep a hand that's like Shriekhorn, Cathartic Reunion, and you just don't have the Dredger, and then being able to dig as hard as possible towards the Dredger is important. You would have to. I could see playing a Dredge deck with Cookbook, but it would be a very different Dredge deck than the one we have now. It's not. It wouldn't just be a straight swap. You would have to rebuild the Dredge deck from the ground up, because Cookbook would not really be replacing Shriekhorn. I actually think Cookbook would be more replacing Conflagrate.
Oh, sure.
Because that's your discard outlet now.
Maybe. I don't know. I think the deck that Ross is playing feels a lot like a Dredge deck in a lot of ways. It's very resilient to interaction and has a lot of ways to grind through stuff from the opponent. I had insane draws for games 1 and 2. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Pretty reasonable 6 here, and I will start by going to 18 and playing a Cookbook.
Okay.
You're up.
That's a pretty good draw. We'll name red.
On your end step, I will discard a called in familiar, and then I will sack the food and bring the familiar back.
Okay.
You go to 19. I go to 19. Attack for 1.
18.
Play a Blooming Marsh. Thought sees you.
Bobble and 4 mana dudes.
I will take. So a weird spot here. I think, given that I'm going to be pretty low on resources, Todd is likely to just jam the creatures this turn.
I agree.
Which means I just want to take one of them. So I'll take a Burning Tree Emissary.
I think this is just for theory or whatever. I think it's Hidden Herbalist because this last lets me play Thrasta without trouble. Whereas,
true.
Whereas this goes this, and then I can't play
you're
Thrasta.
Right. Let's take Hidden Herbalist. So that's going to put me to 17 off the Thoughtseize, and then I'll play an Oven. Pass the turn.
All right, I'm going to play this. I'm going to bobble myself, and I'm going to see if I want to go for it or wait a turn. Here we go.
Don't like that.
Here we go.
I'm going to loop the familiar with the Oven.
Yep.
So you'll go to 17, I'll go to 18. I'll go to 16, Cycle Street Wraith.
Okay. I wish they would erase Cat Oven from the planet.
Play Asmore. Get another cookbook.
So, like, if he ever finds Oval Chase Daredevil, he's going to be able to just kill every creature I play for the rest of the game very easily. With double cookbook, Oval Chase. But we'll see. Tap me for 1.
Yeah, definitely going to attack you for 1. So that's
16
gonna
all.
Put 16 all. Well, am I? You're at 17. I'm at 16. Because you might be drawing Reckless Bushwhacker.
Sure.
In which case, I would rather have the familiar around to block. Don't think the 1 damage is going to matter. You could definitely have Bushwhacker on top. So I'm going to leave it untapped. And got a Peatland. Am I going to want to sack Peatland on instep and play Cookbook next turn? It's the same. It leaves me with 1 mana next turn regardless. But I'm trying to think what leaves me the most options. I think just playing the Cookbook now.
Okay. All right, draw off turn.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. That's fine.
So now you're going to go to 16 with the fetch land. So now it's 16 all.
Yep. Tober Sprawls on red.
Oh, that said, you still could have thrasted off this, right? Because you go 3 red, then use 2 of them,
Sure.
like that, then use the other 2 red.
Do you want to swap them?
No, you're good.
In general, though, I think it's just harder. It's easier to use this mana than these as mana. That's what I've noticed from playing a couple times, though. All right, so 3 red, blah, 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 3 storm, 4 storm, 5 storm.
Okay.
All right, now I'm my face. Here we go.
End step, get a food with the familiar. I'm not attacking with the called in familiar, so there's no reason for me to bring it back now. Sack Peatland.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Play Dryad Arbor.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Attack with this minis.
Okay. Sack of food before blocks to return the familiar.
Yep.
So you'll go to 15, I'll go to 17. Go to blocks.
Yep.
And I could trade for a squirrel and use a card in my hand to generate the necessary food for Cauldron Familiar, or I could just keep using the oven and keep blocking a 2-power. I think I would rather do it that way. Oh, the card in my hand is not very good, but I'd rather be able to, I think, generate food eventually for Asmore. So yeah, I'm going to block like that.
Okay.
Sack Cauldron Familiar to oven before damage. I take 7.
Yep.
Puts
10.
me to 10, yep.
Okay.
You lose an Emissary and a Priest. I lose Dried Arbor. I have a food.
All right. Arbor off, and then I'll Shadow Storm for 2.
Okay. Not a bad one. I'll play a Seder Wayfinder.
Okay. Get a land.
Take a Blooming Marsh, I guess. And pass the turn.
All right, at this point, all my creatures are expendable. I'm just trying to get in as much damage every turn as I can before Ross gets too much in play, so we'll just ship with everything.
Okay, I will sack my food and get back familiar before blocks.
14 to 11. Then he has 3 blockers. He's going to put 1 here, and then probably 1 here and a chump here.
Let's block there. I'll leave you with all the squirrels.
That's fine.
Actually, I think I'm just going to use the 2 cards in my hand to deal with a 2/2 here.
Oh, with the Asmore?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they're both lands. I don't
Sure.
really need them. So that's what I'll do. I'll make 2 food, sack it to the Asmore to deal with the Herbalists.
Okay.
And then sack here, get a food. So that squirrel doesn't get through. I take 6.
Yep, you're at 5, and then
You lose
Arbor
those 2. I
Trays,
lose Wayfinder.
those die. I'm playing another Arbor, so yep. I guess.
That's really good, actually. Gilded Goose.
Yep.
And I will pass the turn.
The problem is now he can start. Well, let's see. So if I ship with everything, he goes block 2, block 3, takes 5, but he goes to 6 from that. And he sacks 2 food to shoot this and take 4. Okay. But this doesn't die, it bounces. This does die, and this doesn't die, it bounces, or whatever. Okay, attack.
Yeah, sack of food, bring back familiar.
Yeah.
So you'll get a 13.
Actually,
No.
I just don't know if that's a worthwhile attack considering my draw.
It's 14 to 5.
All right. Whatever. I was going to hold this, but if I attack and lose this, then I don't get that. So, all right. So slightly different math, but close.
Okay. So before block, sack familiar. I go to 6. You go to 13.
Yep.
That is annoying. I want to just trade with the familiar this turn, but I can't do that now because of the extra attacker. So, yeah, I guess I will block like that and loop the familiar with the oven. So you'll go to 12, I'll go to 7. And then I'll take 6, go to 1.
Okay.
And you'll lose.
This bounces.
You just lose
bounces.
Bushwhacker.
Yep. Okay, here you go.
I think I am dead. So you now have 7 tokens and an Arbor Elf, 8 attackers.
Squirrel time. think Brian Gottlieb's happy his token finally gets used.
So I can block 3 of them. That has me taking 5. I can sack a food, go to 4, then loop Cauldron Familiar once, and end up at exactly 5. This is actually exactly lethal, because I kept the Overgrown Tomb instead of the Swamp in my opening hand, because I knew I was sacking this Nurturing Peatland at some point, but I immediately drew Blooming Marsh to punish me. And if I had 2 extra life, I would stabilize.
Yep.
This is actually what is happening here.
I don't know. Sounds like it. I just trust your math because there's a lot of moving parts over there.
Yeah.
I know you could get up to 5 and you can block 3, so I don't know. Is there any way you can make enough food to gain 3 life, sack 2 food to Asmore to kill a thing, and bring back the Cauldron Familiar?
I don't think so, because I can only... I would need to use all my mana to gain the 3 life. I get 1 food off the cookbook. That brings me up to 2, and a 3rd food off the oven.
Yeah, but you only sack 2 foods, right? And then 1 to bring back Familiar.
So I need 1 for Familiar, 2 for Asmore, and 1 for life.
Ah.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's the problem. I have 3 food, I need 4. And the big thing was you playing the Bushwhacker last turn, right?
Yeah.
Because then it would just basically come down to whether or not you drew a spell to go with Bushwhacker this turn.
If I hold Bushwhacker, I don't think I can attack with this because I need the extra mana to be able to play whatever spell if it's not a free spell.
So I'd finally generated a little bit of extra food, and I was going to start trading with Cauldron Familiar as opposed to chump blocking.
Yeah.
And maybe I should have been... Oh, yeah, that's where I screwed up this game. The turn that I pitched things to Cookbook to kill something, I should have just been using the Familiar to trade with 1/1s.
Yeah.
And then I use each food. I think I would have taken some hits from 2/2s, but I would have gained a life back with the Familiar to blank that out, and I would have whittled your battlefield down faster. That's where my mistake was in this game. But as is, I think I'm exactly dead. I just don't see anything I can do. I'm pitching this. I have 2 food. I could... You have 8 attackers.
I do.
Block 3, 5 unblocked. Loop the Cauldron Familiar. Sack of food. Yeah, exactly dead.
Nice. Hard cast Goblin Bushwhacker for the win.
Reckless Bushwhacker.
That's fair. I played with both of them so many times. Well, 13 minutes. I don't know if we need to play another one, but if you want to, we can.
Yeah, we'll get a pity game in.
All right.
It's been an impressive showing from the Bushwhacker deck.
It's a lot more consistent today than it was yesterday on stream. I'll tell you that much.
Or before the show started.
Well, you know.
I mean, you knew that was going to happen, though. That's just the way it works in the studio.
That is how versus live works.
Yeah, that's why we play pregame games. So we know who really is going to win the match. It's whoever gets dumpstered before the match actually starts. Anything from chat for us?
Yeah. So how good do you feel like Urza's Saga is going to be in Modern? Is it going to become a format staple, you think?
Banned.
Okay.
You think it's going to get banned in Modern?
I think it's going to get banned in like less than 2 months. I've seen it in like 4 or 5 different decks already, and every single time my opponent plays it, I feel like I'm just going to die when it goes off. It's just a land that's a tutor. It's just incredible. It's just so good. It's good in Amulet Titan. It's good in every artifact deck that's ever been made. It's good in this cookbook deck, and it's like egregious in these decks too.
It being good in a bunch of different decks is not an argument to ban it, though.
Right, but it's a free tutor for like all the best cards in your deck. Is the problem? Look, I'm not saying that I'm guaranteed to be right, but that is what I think is going to happen.
I would be surprised if it was banned that quickly.
That's fair. I think Urza Saga is a lot like Arkham's Astrolabe, where it kind of looks harmless at first, and then like You just play with it or against it a couple times and you realize just how disgusting it actually is.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this and hope it works out.
Extremely same. This is I'm either gonna completely obliterate you this game, or I'm gonna not. All right, I'm gonna bobble myself.
Sure.
I'm gonna bobble you. Okay. All right, go.
Crack Catacombs for a forest. Go to 19. Play a Gilded Goose.
That goose is gilded, sir.
Get a food and pass the turn.
All right, draw for turn. This is kind of a hard one. I don't think Chatterstorm is that good here, so I kind of want to wait. But I also kind of want to play Tormod's Crypt so he can't do anything stupid next turn. But I think no matter what I do, I'm just kind of going to get clapped. Alright. Whatever. Tormod's Crypt, Mistress Bobble, fetch.
19 all.
The reason I had to burn the 2 baubles because I didn't have the second land, and I used one to look at the top of my deck, and it was not land. And so I figured I'd burn another bauble, but now I'm regretting burning the other bauble. Because I would have drawn the land, and then I could have Shasta this turn instead of not being able to Shasta. So we'll go Burning Tree into Chatterstorm instead, make 4 tokens. Alright. Still fine.
Draw. With the 3rd trigger from Saga on the stack, I will make a construct.
Okay.
Then we'll have this happen. I will get a cookbook.
Making the constructs from the Saga has actually been surprisingly good as well. I thought it would be like something that the decks that are kind of trying to combo do occasionally, but I actually lost the game to just 2 Urza Sagas making constructs from... You've already drawn, right?
Yep, I already have.
From Amulet Titan.
I'll discard Daredevil, get a food, trigger Daredevil.
Yeah.
Good.
And then... God, that's gross. That's fine.
Play Urborg, play Asmore, get another cookbook.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
I'll look at your top card after you're done. I'll draw for the bubble, and I'll draw for turn. And this is, I think Chatterstorm's actually not that good. I originally foresaw it working well with like Bushwhacker and stuff, but I feel like we just don't generate enough mana, to really do what I want it to do, you know?
You really need the Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl start so you can have Chatterstorm plus Bushwhacker, and that's just asking too much.
Yeah. All right. Attack him with everything. Seems bad. He just gets to eat 2 things for free. Take 3, so you're go.
Now if the match is over, I'm just going to win very easily.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. That's how we drew it up. I actually kind of want to just concede.
Play another cookbook.
Just to not give you the satisfaction of winning a real game. It's not like my draw was bad. I made 5 creatures on turn 2, and it's just not close to being good enough.
Discard Daredevil.
Sure.
Bring back.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Go.
End step, discard Daredevil.
Yeah, you can make a food in response.
Yep, that's how it works.
Yep.
Then I'll make another food with the goose. Tap this to Urborg, obviously, so I don't take a damage.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little awkward. I don't know. Tormod's Crypt is not the best graveyard card against them because they just have all these little tricky things. They're not. They're also not like all in on the graveyard either. It's really just Daredevil, Cat, and Troll. And Cat and Troll are like kind of dodgy against Tormod's Crypt specifically.
Thoughts easy. 2 Thrastas, so that's going to put me to 17.
Sure.
Um,
Do you want to keep going?
yeah.
Okay.
Discard Daredevil to
Yes,
Cookbook.
sir.
Comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Discard Troll King to Cookbook.
Mm-hmm.
Return Troll King.
Mm-hmm.
Play Verdant Catacombs and pass the turn.
Go.
End step, crack Catacombs, go to 16.
Okay.
Get Dryad Arbor.
Okay.
Then I will crack the Peatland. Draw. Attack with Troll King and a 6/6 Construct.
Chump block the construct. Take 7.
You go to 12. So
Yep.
12 to 17.
Yep.
Planner's a Saga.
Yeah.
Chapter 1. And pass the turn.
All right. I'll play Utopia Sprawl, and then I'll play Chatterstorm. I almost said Shatterstorm. That's awkward. For 2 squirrels.
Sure.
And then this costs 6, so go.
End step,
Not quite.
Cookbook with Daredevil.
Yep.
Cookbook with Daredevil.
Yep.
Make a food a goose.
Yep.
Second chapter on the Saga. Play a Peatland. Attack with Troll King and Construct.
No blocks.
Yeah. Just gonna make 2 more constructs with the Saga.
I was just waiting for you to present lethal, and I was just taking my root out, you know. I'm out of here.
So you got to see how this deck works when it gets to do its thing.
Yeah, and it's like traditional interaction is horrible against that deck. Like
And you saw even the Torment Script wasn't good. I gave you the
Yeah.
1 window early, but it didn't seem like you were gonna get good enough value.
Yeah, I wanted to
felt
try
like
to
bait.
snag a Troll King,
Yeah.
but you played around Torrent Script very easily, so
Yeah, once you have the second cookbook,
Yeah.
it becomes almost trivial.
my gut instinct of not going for the Chatterstorm on 2, I think, was correct. I should have just waited till 3 and try to get a Thrast off, but you were already in full gallop by the time that was coming down, and like
I was gonna have a construct that's able to trade with Thrasta.
Right. So, all right. Anything from chat before we move on to the next match?
Some of them were very surprised at how that game looked, that you were able to 3-0 in that one, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I'm all again. Todd had some good draws. Turn
I
two
had some really
Thrasta on the play is tough to deal with unless I'm and I didn't have a turn 2 Troll King, I think, in any game.
No,
Whereas
but
I
when
did it
he
basically every
2
time.
The first 2 games in a row that we played off camera, he had turn 2 Feasting Troll King, and I was like, well, I don't think my Thrast is very good against the nuts. And Ross like, I don't think this is the nuts.
we still got to see the Daredevil do work in that game.
I'm going to
then.
go out on a limb and say this deck turn 2 Troll Kings more often than your deck turn 2 Thrastas.
I mean, we could run the numbers, but right now it's at even.
Yeah.
So, you know. All right. Well, I guess let's just take, what, we need 5 or 10? I mean, I don't know.
5 minutes
You
is
call
good.
it. Okay. All right. We're going to take a short 5-minute break. Seriously, if you have any questions about any of the decks we got going on today, or you just want to know some personal stuff about me and Ross, we're very open to sharing. Get those questions in at Star City Games, and Rob will pick his favorites, and he'll ask them to us while we're preparing for round number 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Versus Live.
Hello and welcome back to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
And I'm Todd Anderson.
And we've got Rob in the booth. Say hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. Continuing to explore Modern Horizons 2 here on Versus Live, having a great time doing it. And my second deck, utilizing one of my favorite cards from Modern Horizons, and that is Upheaval, a cube staple.
Okay.
And one that, I think a lot of people misunderstand, and they see how powerful it can be, and they just assume that it's that powerful all the time. But this is a card that you need to put a lot of work into.
Yes.
You need a lot of fast mana, and there's not a ton of that around in Modern these days. But one way to do it and get fast mana is Urza. So I think Urza and Upheaval is a nice combo, and this is my attempt at building around those two cards. So I've got 3 copies of Mox Amber, a good number of artifacts. We're playing Urza's Saga. I have a little toolbox of things in the main deck, Soul Guide Lantern, Pithing Needle, things like that.
Do you have Ornithopter of Paradise?
No.
Rip.
No, I don't.
That's my favorite.
I've got a Brainstone, which is a nice one with Urza, because
I do
Urza's
like
a shuffle
Brainstone.
effect.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should be playing more of them. I'm actually playing more copies of the Crab, the O3 spell that makes an it makes an O3 and investigates, just to play a little defense against certain decks. But more artifacts than most Urza decks you see nowadays. Still a little bit controlling. I've got Counterspell, but not the expensive counterspells. No Archmage's Charm, no Cryptic Commands.
Okay.
What I really want us to have is to be well set up to protect Urza the turn it enters the battlefield.
Sure.
So I think if you can protect it for that turn and untap, it really snowballs out of control rather quickly. So Counterspell, relatively easy to have 2 blue up. Post Urza, it already gives you 1. And then I'm playing Suspend as well. This is a cool card with Urza in that you can protect it if they go to kill it. You can answer your opponent's creature and just bury them in the 2 turns that it's under Suspend.
Yeah.
You can also suspend your own creature and then cast an Upheaval and then have that creature coming off for free a turn or 2 later.
That's pretty good.
And I've got Teferi Time Raveler. So if you suspend an opponent's creature and you have a Teferi, when it goes to unsuspend, they just can't cast it.
No, I wrote an article about Suspend a few weeks ago when it was first previewed, and I missed the Upheaval, have my creature in Suspend interaction. I just missed that one. That's my bad. That's on me.
So,
but
a lot of cool things going on with this brew, a lot of new cards, and hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, from my side of things, we are playing Merfolk. Mono Blue, we are trying out some new cards. Rishon Dockhand is this new 1-drop creature, and the 1-drop slot is where I always thought Merfolk really struggled with. Curse Catcher never really hit. They made a green one that was a 2/2 that was like fine or whatever, but you had to play another color and you needed an island in play, which was actually not that easy if you want to play Cavern of Souls and Mutavault and 2 colors or whatever. So Rishon Dockhand, I think it's going to be pretty good. Allow you to pressure your opponent's mana early in the game while you kind of let Aether Vial do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. With that said, if you draw it and not Aether Vial, things are going to get a little awkward on occasion, but it'll allow you to always be able to use your extra mana. That plus Mutavault, you should be tapping out basically every turn to do something, which I'm really happy about. The other new cards we're playing, we're trying out the 3-drop, whose name escapes me.
Cyval or something like that?
Yeah, it's not a true Merfolk Lord. It's kind of like a Protection Lord. It's Sivulun of Sea and Sky, 3 mana, 3/4. Has indestructible as long as you control at least 2 other merfolk, so you're protected from Dam or Wrath of God or things like that. Whenever it attacks, you draw a card, which is pretty powerful. And then other merfolk you control have Ward 1, so if they get targeted with anything, they have to pay 1 or is countered. So,
yeah.
And then a couple copies of Subtlety, because I think Subtlety is a crazy good tempo card.
Yeah, should be good at stopping Urza at the very least.
Yeah, and if I'm doing like Spreading Seas and things like that kind of replace themselves while disrupting, a pitch counterspell type deal, like we're playing Force Negation and Subtlety, like they're just good together. So.
I would say Spreading Seas not really necessary against a blue deck, but sometimes you might want to shut off Urza Saga.
Yeah, I mean it's just also in the deck because it's Spreading Seas in your Merfolk deck, 6, 7. One big upgrade that this deck got in the last year was Glasspool Mimic. Just having a clone that's also a land is kind of insane. All right, how's yours?
I think it is fine, and I'm going to keep.
Okay, me too.
I am going to lead on Polluted Delta. Am I?
I don't know.
Yes, I will lead on Polluted Delta. Pass the turn.
Right. I don't think there's any reason to lead with Cavern of Souls. I kind of like having it as a surprise factor later. Plus, I already have Aether Vial. Maybe it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Okay, turn on Vial. I'm going to crack the fetch and get a Hallowed Fountain. Go to 19.
No artifacts early on from Ross kind of makes me happy, but the decks are way different now. Like, there's no Mox Opal starts anymore, so he could just play like turn 2 some sort of Mind Stone or something like that.
I do have some talismans in my deck.
You like Talisman over Signet so that you can play like Mystical Dispute and stuff like that?
Yeah, dispute, suspend. There's some options. Play Narza Saga, Chapter 1. Play Mishra's Bauble. Play an Ether Spellbomb. Play an Emery Trigger.
That's pretty good.
Hit another Bauble and a Brainstone.
Okay.
And I'll pass the turn.
Take a Vial.
Hold on. On your upkeep, I'm going to Bauble you.
As a force.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and Spreading Seas on your Saga. Draw a card.
Okay.
Here we go.
So upkeep, I'll draw off Bauble. Draw for turn. And that's kind of cute. Emery on Bauble, play it.
Mm-hmm.
Hard Evidence. That's food. So we don't have O3 crab tokens. We're using these O3 walls. Though notably the crabs don't have defender, so just ignore that.
Okay.
Play a plains and pass the turn.
All right, take this up to 2.
On your upkeep, Bauble. Okay.
Ooh. All right, I'll Cavern on Merfolk.
So I'm being told the saga should be dead.
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm trusting Elliot, who I know is an L3.
What? Elliot Raff says the Saga should die?
Yeah. I assume Elliot hopefully will be able to tell me in a
It says
second.
sacrifice after 3. It never gets to 3.
Oh, somebody said its default chapter becomes a 0. I don't know if we'll see what. Yeah, apparently it dies.
What?
I'm gonna need more clarification on this because if that's
That doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make sense to me. It's an enchantment land, right?
Apparently Blood Moon kills it too.
Blood Moon kills it.
What?
Is Ricky in the building? Can we get Ricky in here?
It has the saga type, but not the saga abilities, so it dies because it no longer has the chapter abilities. So that's the ruling on that.
Oh,
What?
I don't.
It's
I
a
don't know.
sacrifice after 3. We never get to after 3.
No, yeah, but the point is it's still a saga, but it doesn't have its abilities, right? So like, then it no longer functions as it's intended, so it dies.
I don't know. So
Well,
Oh, okay, so yeah, so it has more counters than it has the last chapter.
Okay. But it's how is it still a saga?
'Cause it has-
It's an enchantment.
So it's an enchantment dash saga, right? Land saga, enchantment land dash
Yeah,
saga.
but saga's a subtype. An island should override that.
But
right?
the rules for sagas might be special in that if they have one or more counters on them than their chapters, they die, and Spreading Seas takes away all their chapters. That's the only thing that's the only thing that makes logical sense to me. So how about you give me that Spreading Seas back, and you put that Urza Saga in the graveyard, and we just listen to Mr. Elliot.
That is absurd.
I feel bad for you, son.
Yeah, it doesn't get rid of non-land types. It just makes it an island.
So does it wait till my upkeep to die or my draw step to die?
I think it dies immediately, but that's just how I read it from them. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna keep going because we're just gonna trust the level 3 judge in the chat or whatever.
Does it wait till my draw step to die?
No,
Because
it dies instantly.
It dies instantly. Just as a state-based action.
So Spreading Seas actually just went through the roof in value, is what you're telling me, which is fine, I guess. All right, I'm gonna play Sylvian of Sea and Sky, and I'm gonna say go. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ross. I'm sorry, Ross. I don't know what to do.
I guess I will sack this Ether Spellbomb to draw a card.
Okay.
I will draw on my upkeep from Bauble. I will draw for turn. I will continue to not hit land drops. and I'll be sad. I did draw Mox Amber, which is not the worst.
Kind of want to force that. Yep. I'm going to force, and I'm going to pitch the backup Sylvan. It doesn't have Ward 1, so you can kill it or bounce it or whatever. Or Spellbomb it, I guess.
I'm going to Emery a Bauble. I'm going to Bauble me. If it's a land, I'll draw it with the clue. Otherwise, I'll do other things. It is, of course, not a land.
Well, now you get to do other things. Everybody wins.
I will pass the turn. Sure.
Draw. Upkeep. You draw from Bauble.
Yeah, I'll draw a Bauble. With the Vile trigger on the stack, I'll suspend the Spyland.
Alright, I'm gonna hard cast Force Negation.
I will cast my Force of Negation, pitching Emery.
Okay, so this gets suspended with 2 counters on it.
Yeah,
this
your
gets
Force is exiled. And now you have a Vile trigger to resolve.
Yeah. I'm gonna take it up. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna activate.
Yep.
Copy this.
Block.
Yeah, your go.
So I already used the Bauble, so there's no upkeep draws here. Oh my god. I'll play a Bauble, Bauble myself. I will crack a clue. Play a Delta, crack that, go to 18. Get an island. 2 in hand right now?
I think I may have chucked it.
I will play another Hard Evidence. Get a Crab, Investigate,
Card's really good.
and I'll play a Bauble for my graveyard.
Okay.
And then I'll Bauble you. Okay. Pass, upkeep, draw.
Yep, trigger, suspend, draw.
Sure.
Copy.
I did? From when?
You had a Bauble yourself before you cracked the clue, and then you had a Bauble on me.
Ah.
I don't know. I'm gonna Spreading Seas the Hallowed Fountain. Ripperoni. I knew I shouldn't have put these stupid Darkslick Shores in my deck. It's always bad. Alright, go. They're like there to play Dismember out of the sideboard for a little less pain and to protect yourself from choke and boil a little more, but I don't know. Entering tapped here is a disaster. I just missed out on a lot of damage because of it.
I'll play Urza Saga.
Sure.
I will play Mish's Bauble with this Emery, and I will pass the turn.
I'll sack this.
Yep. I'll Bauble you.
Cast Sylvan.
I will counterspell that. And I dropped my Bauble.
Okay. Draw for turn. Alright, activate this.
Yep.
Rajiri.
Yep.
Play a Rajiri. Trigger target cavern.
Sure.
Play Darkslick Shores. Attack.
I'll jump 2 of them.
Okay, take 4.
I'm at 14.
All right, bounce this. Here you go. I guess I got to untap 2 lands. Whatever.
Yeah. And stuff, I'll crack a clue. Oh, I put a food into play when I meant to put a clue into play, but it was a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 2. Prairie Stream. There's get a construct. Hard evidence. Get a crab and investigate. Tap the clue for a blue. Play Emery.
Okay.
Wow. And I'll pass the turn.
All right. Draw for turn. I'll cast Lord of Atlantis. I will tap the construct and the crab.
I mean, all your stuff is just unblockable, so I'm done.
Okay. Take my spreading seas back.
This was stuck on lands early there after getting Stone Rained in an interaction that still does not make any sense to me.
It's just a rule of the sagas, probably, because not all sagas have 3 chapters. Some of them have 4 chapters or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just probably just if a saga ever has 1 counter above, or I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. That's why I don't understand why that is the rule for sagas. Like, why do they need to be templated in that way instead of just having a number at which point they get sacrificed? And when you spreading season, then they never reach that number, so they just stick around as a land, which is the intuitive way that's the way I would assume they work.
I don't know.
But somehow turning a saga into an island means it just goes away.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It just can't handle being an island. Life as an island is too much for it to bear.
Now, if you have Blood Moon in play, and I play a saga, or an Urza Saga, I think it sticks around because it has 0 counters on it. But even then, I don't know. So
no one knows.
All right, anything from chat there, Robbo?
Yeah, they want to know what you think about Tide Shaper in a Merfolk list as an additional 1-drop.
So Ross and I talked a little bit about that before we started, and I think Tide Shaper kind of just sits in the same vein as Spreading Seas, but the reason why Spreading Seas is good is specifically because it kind of creates churn. Your deck only has 12 lords or whatever, and your lords are by far your best creatures, and so you're trying to do everything you can to kind of maximize that. And Spreading Seas, obviously it shares the similar function as Spreading Seas, where they both turn your opponent's thing into an island. I just think that Dockhand is a little bit better, and Spreading Seas is enough. Enough people play blue that you don't need to max out on. Was it Architect's Will or Aquatech's Will or whatever?
Yeah.
The one from.
Or Seas Claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that type of effect that you just don't play already. So.
I built a mono blue devotion deck years ago in Modern that just played 4 Seas Claim, 4 Spreading Seas, because none of the cheap creatures were good. And the entire idea was to just get Kira Master of Waves down when your opponent couldn't answer it. It was actually pretty sweet.
Sounds cool. Anything else?
Yeah, somebody named Corey B. MTG wants to know, Ross, how has his dog been behaving?
Aw.
Surprisingly well.
Surprising? Oh, man. Don't say it like that.
I dog sat for Henry in October, and he was harder then than he is now.
All right, game number 2.
He was very cooperative yesterday while I was writing and recording the podcast.
That's nice. So you're saying he's a good dog?
Yes. Some might say the best. Okay. On the play. See what I can do here. I see. I am once again not going to draw lands. Mulligan.
All right. I'm going to keep mine. I think it's okay. There's obviously some holes that can be poked in it, but I can draw out of the... I can draw out if things go the worst. So, all right. Anything else while Ross is
Also, Chet has let me know that if you play Saga into a Blood Moon, it still dies immediately.
Okay, well then I don't understand how the rule works, and honestly I don't want to know. You know?
So apparently, doesn't that mean Saga has to be a super type? I don't understand how this works out, Saga being a super type. Because if it's a subtype, it should lose whatever ability is making you sacrifice it.
Well, I think specifically it's weird. It's like, you know how Dried Arbor continues being a 1/1 creature?
Yeah, because creature is a super type. Artifact is super types, or artifact lands are artifacts under Blood Moon. But that's why they don't retain the other types, because those are subtypes. If it's a dual land, it's still just a mountain.
I don't know, man. That's above my pay grade. I don't think anyone works at Watson anymore who can answer that question anyway, so...
They're just making it up as they go along.
So Saga is a subtype of enchantment, though, so it doesn't lose it?
So it should stay an enchantment, but not be a Saga, right?
Look, I don't know. I just listen to what the judges tell me.
Oh, my God.
See, maybe Spreading Seas specifically says it loses all other land types, but it doesn't take away its super type of being a Saga. That's probably what it is. And Saga just has some weird rule that sucks. It's just all bad for you. That's all I know, and that's what I care about. Brainstone. I don't have
you.
Is it good?
Nope.
Okay, that's pretty good. Bonk.
You're 19.
Your turn. Yeah.
Bobble you.
Yeah. Is it good?
Go.
I don't think it's good.
I'm dead.
Okay. I was missing my land drop too, though. All right.
Game's over.
Free win for Todd. Look, that's fine. That just means that I've probably already won the marbles.
Yeah. I'm just trying to give myself enough time to play 3 post-sideboard games, so I have a chance to win. That's all that's going on here.
I was going to say that the tilt's, hitting you even harder today than usual.
Well, Ross hasn't lost in a long time. He's had the marbles for like 3 weeks straight. And he beat the crap out of me last week. He's just not used to losing
It's being anxious about the Clips Jazz series. That's what it is.
That's fair.
Does start tonight.
One more pre?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
These are new decks. Pre-board games are generally better.
Yeah, that was kind of a non-game.
Wasn't good.
All right, you're up. See if you can keep a functional one. Ooh. A good hand and new cards?
Corey would like to mention that you can't wear the Mana Screw shirt and then think it's going to be a good day. You should know that.
But it's only working one way here.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can't both get mana screwed.
I'm just getting double mana screwed now.
Yeah. All right. I'll keep.
I'll lead on Minamo.
Do. Minamo, no.
Urza Saga, Talisman of Progress.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Bonk. I'm going to go Merfolk.
Sure.
I'm going to play Rishin Dockhand.
Sure.
I'm going to say go.
Chapter 2.
Yeah. Time for a construct. Yep.
I'm going to play a bauble. I'm going to bauble you.
Is it good?
It's fine. I'll I'll play an engineered explosives on 1.
Force, pitch, dock hands.
That makes sense. Yep. That's what you would have.
Sorry, I don't know what to say.
Pass the turn.
Okay. Upkeep. Take this up to 2. Draw. So I think here I'm just gonna tap land. The Saga's not gonna be able to get mana necessarily. They can get like Mox Amber, but it doesn't work with Manamo. I'll say go. On your upkeep, I'll target Manamo.
I'll make a construct.
Okay.
Drop.
Mm-hmm.
Trigger the Saga.
Mm-hmm.
On the vial. We got him. Got him good.
Did get me good. That's Bummer Town. All right, you got a land?
I actually think I did draw a land.
That's so lucky.
Yeah. It enters tapped,
man.
but I wasn't doing anything with the mana anyway. I'm also going to play this Mox Amber just to make my construct a 4/4, in case that is irrelevant.
I'm going to take this up. I meant to take it up, but I know I can't do anything with it yet.
Sure.
I'm going to play... I think I'm going to play Sylvian. Sylvian? I have no idea how it says. S-V-Y-E-L-U-N. Sylvian?
I would say Sviolin.
Sylvian? All right, here you go.
Like you're
I don't get
saying,
to-
it's violin.
You're violin.
No, you're the one who's violin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was. Things went south.
Okay. Make colors with the talisman, blue-white here, play Teferi.
Force, pitch, Rajiri.
Wow. Pass the turn.
All right. Draw.
Yeah, play your lord.
Lord of Atlantis. I'm going to attack and draw a card.
Yep.
All right. Take 4. You're at 16. Upkeep. I'll tap the prairie.
Ball.
Yep.
I'll take a point from the talisman and play EE on 2.
15. Okay.
Pass the turn.
Upkeep. Draw. So if I play a second Lord of Atlantis and just ship with these 3, that's 5, 8, 11, put you to 4. And then I have Edevault, Sylvian, and a draw card. That's actually not that bad. I can also do like, whatever. I think this is fine. All right, Lord. Draw card.
Yeah, I'm a 4.
All right. I think I might actually need this mana next turn. So we'll play Glass Pool as a land. That way I can play a spell plus activate Mutavault, maybe. Because my Lord's going to die, which is the primary target for Mimic anyway. Your turn. And this is locked down from the needle still.
I'm at 4.
I think I need to bobble on end step.
Think so.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's not bad. I'm
That's
trying
good.
upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst possible. And that was also bad. Pass the turn.
All right. Untap. Draw. All right, so if we activate this and attack with these, he blows these up, blocks here, and takes 3 down to 1. We lose this. If we just attack with this, he'll blow this, block here. I can activate this so that this gains indestructible, and I still get to draw a card. And then I can tap something and play a 2-drop. If I draw a land, I can tap something and play a 2-drop and a 1-drop. Okay, a lot of options here. It's kind of cool.
Don't you just make the attack? You lose nothing except the lords. You're definitely losing to the EE anyway.
Oh, yeah, because it has indestructible still.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
I have to block it, otherwise I'm dead. Exactly.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to...
I lose my talisman, so I'm going to lose a mana too.
I know, but I felt like I could get an angle up and tap you down. It's like the old school, like, do I get in chip damage or use Rich Import?
I'm actually chump blocking with the construct at that point, because then it's a 3/3.
It's 4 for it? Oh, this dies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's all bad.
I didn't realize that died. That's my bad. Okay.
Everything is bad for me. Don't worry.
Attack draw.
Yeah. Now I've got to do this before blockers, because otherwise I literally can't block anything. Because I only drew my ETB tapped island.
Okay, these are gone.
Jump the violin, go to 1.
Okay. And spreading seas on your white source. Go. Ripperoni.
I took my template for how many mana sources from other Urza decks, and I don't think I've gotten to like land 3.
Yeah, I mean,
I also
Saga
lowered-
being one of your lands and it getting destroyed multiple times, or at least one time, is kind of brutal.
Yeah.
It also just, I don't know, you know how like the old Dark Depths decks used to not count Dark Depths and some number of Urborgs as their lands? I think maybe with Urza Saga, you just got to treat it like a spell that functions like a land.
It certainly feels like my land count is too low. But
Yeah.
we'll continue playing with some post-sideboard games. We're going to take a short break, and we'll see if I can do literally anything. Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Azorius, or do they still call this one Urza Hevel? Nice.
Ooh, Urza Hevel's nice.
Yeah, and Merfolk on my side, a lot of sideboarding going on. Don't really like the disruption that's in the main deck. Counterspell is an okay card, but when you have Cavern and Vial and a low curve, it becomes a liability. Force of Negation, even worse. Mystical Dispute, even though it's a counterspell in the face of those cards, is efficient enough that you should be able to find a spot for it, and it can also be used to force our spells through your Force of Negations and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you're casting Upheaval, you're floating like 8-9 mana or whatever, and then just like doing a bunch of stuff after the Upheaval. So just, you know, the odds of you having a Mystical Dispute at the ready to stop my interaction is pretty high.
Yeah, and then Subtlety actually lets us get through Cavern Results at least, not Vial, unfortunately, but becomes pretty valuable later in the game as a combat trick, you know, stopping a Lord and putting another blocker onto the battlefield. A little bit more removal in Path Exile. Lantern is our one toolbox artifact that is not good in this matchup since you don't use the graveyard. And Teferi, generally weak against a deck that, one, has Vial, because that lets you, you know, redeploy the cards quickly, but also just pressures the card quite a bit. So I'm cutting the Teferis as well.
Yeah. From my side, I'm never going to get got by Urza Saga Pith and Needle ever again. All right, like that's just never happening again. You get got by it one time, it never happens again. It's such a horrible, feels bad. What we're going to be doing though for sideboarding, Sylvian, I don't think is actually that good in this matchup. The indestructible is kind of irrelevant because most of Ross's removal is like suspend or path to exile or just like bouncing it. So indestructible is kind of irrelevant. Obviously, I got to attack with it a couple times, and that was pretty good. But just the fact that
the card advantage was the relevant part for this matchup.
Right. I think what I need to do, though, is I need to just become a bit more interactive. Harbinger of the Tides interacts in way the wrong way. It's like okay against Emery, but pretty lackluster against every other type of creature you could play. Dismember permanently answers Emery, and it's a great way to kill Urza before any real advantage is gained. We're also going to be bringing in the fourth Force Negation to help out against some of those like early Mana Accelerator plays or just like the big late game plays with Upheaval and such. And then we're going to bring in the third Subtlety. We could bring in the fourth. I couldn't figure out what to cut, though. And I don't think it's like busted, but I found that you know a lot of my cards replacing themselves just meant that I just always want to have tempo advantage, and Subtlety being like a pitch counterspell for your Urza or Emery early just feels like it might be disgusting. So
yeah, so Todd taking a more aggressive tack to these games and saying, you know what, I think your late game is going to be too powerful here. I want to get the game over with, take advantage of the early battlefield development that I have that you might not have while you're sort of setting up all the other dopey artifacts. And that makes sense.
Ross made a really good point earlier that I've had Turn on Ether Vial all 3 games, and I think that decks that play Ether Vial are often outrageous when you play the Ether Vial on turn 1, and a lot worse otherwise. So if I don't have Turn on Ether Vial in game 4 or 5, then I think Ross have a much better chance of winning.
I would also like to resolve the card Urza, Lord High Artificer.
Is that good?
I mean, it might be good. I don't know.
Usually you want to resolve the card that your deck is named for.
Maybe.
Like so Amulet Titan, you want to resolve Amulet and Titan. In this deck, I'd like to resolve Urza and Upheaval. Haven't done that yet. I will keep my hand.
Me too.
And we'll start on a hard evidence. Get myself a crab wall and a little Max McVitie.
Okay. So I got good news and bad news. That's the bad news.
Okay, I'll play an island and pass the turn.
The good news is also for me, though.
Well, the bad news was for me, so the good news wouldn't also be for me.
All right, I'm going to play Master of the Pearl Trident.
Sure.
Go.
I'm going to sack this clue.
Sure.
Play planes.
Mm-hmm.
Pass the turn.
Trigger.
Yeah, that's fine.
Drop.
Yep.
Spreading seas on your planes.
I will float a white.
Okay, I'll draw a card.
Trigger on the stack. I will path the master.
Sure. So I'll get an island, I'll draw a card, and I'll be... I might draw a land. All right, any cut?
No, you're good.
Draw. All right, your go.
Prairie Stream, Oxamber, Urza.
I'm going to Subtlety on Urza, pitching a Force Negation.
This goes on top of my deck.
Yep, or bottom, your choice.
Youth. How many in hand?
4.
I'll put it on top.
All right, activate.
Yep.
Rajiri. Master, untap this.
Sure.
Go.
Namo. Urza.
I'll subtlety pitch Force Negation.
I will mystical dispute your subtlety.
Tilt. Okay.
Get a construct.
Yeah.
Okay. Step 1 has been achieved. Pass the turn. Draw.
Lord of Atlantis. Trigger, tapping. Well, I guess they can't block anyway unless
Correct.
you tap this for blue and have suspend. If you suspend this, then you can block this. So I'll tap the construct. Attack.
I will take what,
7?
7. Yeah, I'm at 13.
Go.
That's a good draw.
Uh-oh.
Best possible.
EE?
Yep. For 2.
Yep. That's pretty good.
Play another Urza.
Okay.
Get another construct. Tap the new construct in the EE.
Yep.
Sack it. And then I will attack for 3.
Okay. 17.
Pass the turn.
Your go.
Draw.
Tough game.
Activate Urza.
Sure.
We're doing it, chat. We're finally doing it.
Finally.
Now I hit the upheaval when I don't want to cast it.
Mm-hmm. Well, can't you go? So float is for free, right? So float 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And you haven't played a land yet. You get to float 3, play the land for Urza Mox. That seems really good.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, I'll float 3 and cast it.
All right, I'll force negation it. Well, I guess you should still do it.
And I will pass the turn. Ether Vial to 4. Got the 3rd subtlety.
Dockhand. I guess. It's 03, right? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
If you had another Lord.
I'll just untap this. Buff
Sure.
another force negation.
Yeah, that'll work.
Ether Ball, Master Waves in.
Activate Urza.
Yep. Your deck's randomized. You can just flip it over.
But then I wouldn't get to shuffle.
Classic
I
Ross.
was gonna say you knew that was coming.
The moment I said it, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, is that good with
Infinite
engineering explosives?
explosives, very, very fun.
So yeah, I'll pass the turn.
All right, I'll violin a subtlety.
Sure.
Draw. Attack for 3 flying.
I'm at 10. That could actually be really annoying.
Here you go.
That was my mistake. Okay. How do I play this then? The EE doesn't do a whole lot, right?
No, you can't even put it on 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably just not even bother. Upkeep, I'm going to tap a land of some kind. Let's say the Prairie Stream.
Okay. I will activate Urza in response.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Draw for turn.
Yep. Bobble. I miss Bobble's disgusting. It's just so good in every deck.
Float blue, play Mox Amber,
Sure.
play another Urza,
Sure.
get another construct. Are we out of constructs? Only had 2 of them?
Ripperoni.
Only 2 constructs? Okay. Or you can be a construct. And then I will attack for 10.
Okay, I'm at 7.
You can go.
Right, draw for turn. Attack for 3.
I'm at 7.
Cavern, I'll name Merfolk, I guess. Here you go.
And now, if I EE on 1, you're just dead.
If I don't have anything.
Well, I'm going to go for it.
Okay, you win.
I had a dispute back, so
Nice.
I felt pretty good.
Well,
We're now 3-1 in this match, and we're almost at 3 o'clock, so it's probably just best to move on to the last one.
yeah, I mean, we could play another game, but it's just going to be, if you draw Urza and I don't have a way to stop it, you're going to probably win. And if I have turn 1 Vial for the 5th game in a row, I'll probably be fine, especially on the play.
I think my list was a little light on mana.
We could talk to chat for a minute or talk about the new cards in our decks real quick.
Do we have any questions right now, Rob?
Don't have any great ones at the moment.
All right, well, give me a bad one. Just any
Well,
bad one. is
it's
fine.
I don't know if there was a list from the one of the challenges. What do y'all think of Urza and Academy Manufacturer? I wasn't sure if you'd seen that or not.
Yeah, there was a Simic list. It was playing all of it, like going full off, making a million artifacts, and also upheavaling. And maybe that's what you have to do. This deck is still trying to be a little bit of a control deck with upheaval, which is what they used to do back in the day with Psychotog. But that list is going sort of full on, sort of cube style with upheaval, and that might be what you need to do in 2021 in Modern in order to make it work. Because this definitely felt underpowered, sort of the same way I felt about Urza decks, for a while now since the banning of Mox Opal, because God knows Corey has tried to make the card work many times.
Yeah. I mean, Urza is still powerful, but I think it's pretty clear at this point that Mox Opal was the main offender.
Yeah, and then because again, the key is just untapping with the Urza, and Opal will just let you do it so quickly. You're casting Urzas on turn 2. And definitely on turn 3. Now you really have to wait, or in order to get it down turn 3, you have to play really fair with cards like Talisman.
Yeah, or you have to go like completely bananas with like Emery and Mox Amber on turn 1, and
most people are very well equipped to deal with an Emery, so you're usually not untapping with the active Amber.
Right.
This was the worst I'd seen Urza Saga look, but that was mainly because of the spreading seas interaction, which still
That was
just
gross.
boggles my mind that's how that works. But
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if there's an FAQ or whatever, just make sure you read the rules and understand why that's happening. We'll figure out if that's like 1,000% true or not, I guess.
Well, I mean, we know it's true. I could read the rule to you if you want me to. People have
let's
posted
go.
it a few times. Let me.
I wanted to get Ricky in
scroll
here
up
to
and find
explain it
it
because
here.
I'm stupid. He was right out there a minute ago.
It looks like it's scrolled up.
Later.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, who cares? It's fine. Doesn't matter.
I was gonna say people were posting it kind of regularly after.
I'm sure
but
they are. Magic is hard.
Yeah. One thing about Rishon Dockhand that kind of didn't make sense in my brain until I played it is that with Ether Vial, you can put Rishon Dockhand onto the battlefield on turn 2 with Ether Vial, but not being able to activate it immediately because of summoning sickness it made it a lot worse than I originally thought it was going to be.
I recognize that. I played with Dockhand earlier in previous season in an Azorius Taxes deck, and I saw that. I recognize that same issue.
Yeah.
Really, it makes the card play out a lot worse than you think in your head.
Yeah. Subtlety, it was fine. I think Subtlety is actually subtly one of the better cards in the set. I think Aspiring Spike said he wasn't super high on it, but my experience with the card has been like, I love it in decks where I don't need to be flush with resources, where I can play like low resource with like Mutavaults, or if I'm playing like the Cascade deck, like I have like these cards that kind of effectively gain me 2 or 3 cards every single time that I Cascade. So, having raw number of cards in hand is just kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. I also really love the comfort that you have when you have Subtlety and Force of Negation in your hand.
Yes.
Because you can just handle whatever your opponent does, pitch one to the other.
Last but not least, Sviolin. If you're a Merfolk person, I would probably pick up a couple, but I don't think that this is going to be like a 3 or 4 of in Merfolk. It not being an actual like Lord where it like pumps your other creatures, I think is a huge downside of it. But as a standalone card, it's not bad. I mean, a 3-minute 3/4 that like whenever you attack with it, you get to draw a card. Like that's not terrible. And then it has like 2 other abilities that are like pretty good. So I don't know.
To me, it's a great cleanup card because you get your lords down, you start attacking them. Your opponent's worried about dealing with that, and then Sviolin comes down and says, "Well, one, I'm likely indestructible until you deal with some other stuff, and not only am I going to crack in for 3 just by myself, I'm also going to refill the Merfolk player's hand and probably find them some more lords and keep them flush with creatures on the battlefield to keep it indestructible."
Yeah.
So I think the card looks really good. It dodges bolt by itself. It if it's indestructible, it'll dodge push every time. Path is really the only one that you use against it. You don't see a lot of paths right now in
that's true.
the proliferation of Monastery Swiftspear really punished Path to Exile in Modern. And so with that down in numbers, I think Sviolin looks pretty solid. But I agree with you. I wouldn't want to play them in super high numbers.
Yeah. All right. Anything from chat before we go?
So I did get that rule posted again, if you want to hear. So it's
hit me.
A saga's final chapter number is the greatest value among chapter abilities it has. If a saga somehow has no chapter abilities, its final chapter number is 0. Then it leads into the next rule. If the number of lore counters on a saga permanent is greater than or equal to its final chapter number, and it isn't the source of a chapter ability that is triggered, but not yet left the stack, that saga's controller sacrifices it. This state-based action does not use the stack. So basically, it doesn't ever lose. It loses its land subtype. It would lose its land subtype, but it doesn't lose the enchantment subtypes that it has as an enchantment. So it's still a saga that then has no chapters.
Okay. Now that you have said it out loud, all that kind of makes sense.
So Blood Moon only takes away land subtypes. It does not take away other subtypes. So if you had an artifact land that was an equipment somehow, it would stay an equipment under Blood Moon.
I don't know about all that.
Well, Blood Moon also says loses all abilities too, I think, right?
Yeah, but apparently it only loses land abilities. Yeah, this is types. So it would be an equipment without any equip cost or any abilities to give it, but it would still be an equipment. It would count as an equipment for, things that, whatever, count your number of equipment in play or something. And it would... I don't know, die to things that reference equipment in that way.
Chat's telling me it would work the way you're thinking, like it's the same as Dryad Arbor.
It's okay. Because my understanding has always been that, because this, this was a big thing back in Mirrodin days when people thought you could play Blood Moon and the artifact lands from the affinity deck would stop being artifacts. And that's not true.
Yep.
Because artifact is a super type. And so in my head, it's always been Blood Moon takes away subtypes but leaves super types. The same is true of snow. Snow lands stay snow because that's a super type. But in this case, I need to amend that, and it takes away land subtypes. So the fact that this is a land that is an enchantment saga, just because saga is a subtype doesn't mean Blood Moon takes it away, because it is an enchantment subtype, not a land subtype.
Bingo. And then sagas just have stupid rules or whatever, so...
Yeah, because so then it maintains all the rules of sagas, and oh my god.
What I've learned is that you should probably be playing Spreading Seas in every blue deck now, because depending on how big Urza Saga gets, I know that the last couple of days it kind of exploded in value because it did really well this weekend in multiple events.
And Shardless Agent were the breakout cards of the weekend. So
big shocker, Shardless Agents. He's playing every human deck, every Cascade deck, every value deck ever created. It's just like a Blood Red Elf that costs 1 less mana. It's just great. And it's an artifact, so tap for mana off for Urza 2. Ooh, maybe you should be playing green-blue instead of blue-white, and then you could play Shardless Agent in that deck.
Maybe.
And then you could play...
you'd have not really much control over your Cascades. That's a different deck. I think if you're Simic, then you're trying to take advantage of those weird synergies that, all those cards that make 1 million tokens when you try to make one of them, and from Modern Horizons, and that might be the way you have to go, as I said. But
all right. Well, we got one more match on the docket. What are you playing, Ross?
I'm going to be playing a little Boros Taxes. I wrote about taxes this week in my article, all about why taxes players should get rid of Lean and Arbiter.
Okay.
And this is another Arbiter-less taxes list. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. If you saw that show when I played Azorius Taxes, a list inspired by Arilax, who wrote about that when Rishad and Dockhand was previewed.
Death and Laxes.
And he also was not a fan of Lean and Arbiter, and I agreed with him. Mentioned it briefly on that episode of Versus, but now I went in depth this week in my article about my feelings on Lean and Arbiter and why it is a mediocre card. And this is just a good old, value Boros Taxes deck where Imperial Recruiter is the main new addition.
Sure, sounds cool. I'm going to be playing Enchantress. Now, this is a build that was inspired by a list that someone sent me on Twitter. I think it's from Swole Dan. I'm not 100% on that. I made quite a few changes, though. It still keeps the core of like Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl, but then every other thing is just like part of that enchantment engine that you come to know from like the legacy versions. Outside, we don't get Sarah Sanctum, but we have the new 2-mana creature that is an Enchantress that gains life. We have Enchantress's Presence, Solitary Confinement. And then our top end, we have Sigil of the Empty Throne, some other stuff. But Sterling Grove, protecting all your enchantments from anything that's not back to nature, very big deal. But I think that means back to nature is going to start seeing some play again. if this deck is good.
There was an Enchantress deck in one of the challenges, I think in 20th place in one of them. So somebody snuck through with it.
Okay.
Can definitely do some powerful things if you got that protection set up.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to be playing those two decks against each other in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Versus Live.
Welcome back to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
I'm Todd Anderson.
And we've got Rob in the booth. Say what's up, Rob.
What's up, Rob?
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. Final match of the day here. Got some sweet ones. We talked about them a bit before the break. I'm going to be playing a little Boros Taxes. No Leonin Arbiter here. Still got Thalia, Imperial Recruiter, the big addition, but also Sanctum Prelate, which should be very good in this matchup.
Yeah.
Enchantress deck very light on removal, and there are some key things that you can name. I think 3 is going to be a big one to stop confinement.
Yep.
I can name 2 early enough to stop some of the card draw engines and stop Sterling Grove, which is a really important card from your deck. And if you're sort of light on mana, I could even name 1.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things you can hit that could be harsh, but I think diversifying my removal a bit is going to help me here. Like I don't have I could have had some Oblivion Rings or something like that to go with like on Thin Ice, but Sanctum Prelate could be really gross. I'm not very happy about it. But from my side, I'm going to be playing Enchantress. This is my own build. I built this before I saw the stuff from this weekend's events. I main deck Blood Moon as kind of a gotcha stealer card. I'm not sure if it's going to be good or not, but hopefully it is good. And of course, I draw the 1 Snow-Covered Plains instead of a green source. My hand could be incredible otherwise.
Well, I have a bad 1-lander, so I'll be sending mine back.
All right. Well, while we're shuffling here for Moles, we'll take a few questions or comments from chat.
What do you got, Rob?
Did have one from before. Do you think that if you're building a Merfolk deck, you should stay mono blue right now, or do you think it's worth splashing another color in another direction?
With all the I actually think there might be a good build that just plays 4 copies of Subtlety. So like if you go 4 Subtlety, 3 or 4 Force Negation, and then you just kind of stay low to the ground, you don't necessarily have to be mono blue, but you want most of your spells to be blue. So I wouldn't play like Karamitra's 1-drop thingy. I think that card's just bad in general. So I don't know. I don't really know why you would play a different color other than blue, except for the blue-green 2-drop Lord. So I don't know.
I think if you're going to play another color in Merfolk, it should be white, so you get to play Luris as a companion, which works really well in the Merfolk shell.
Yeah, but Rajiri's so good.
Luris is really good.
I mean, I know it's good.
You play Unsettled Mariner and probably some white cards on the sideboard. I'm not sure which would be better, but that's the only compelling reason that I can see to add another color to my Merfolk deck.
Sure. All right, I've kept my 6. Are you still mulliganing?
Yeah.
First time? All right, anything else?
It's a Yorian deck. It takes me even longer.
Oh, I know. It's like shuffling a commander deck.
Yeah, so Ross, you've talked about not liking Leonin Arbiter. If Urza's Saga is ubiquitous, does that maybe change the math in your opinion?
Not really. It's not like it's that hard for them to pay the 2 if they really need to. It's a minor inconvenience, and the card is just so fragile and requires so much from you in your own deck building. It can get in the way of your Imperial Recruiters, your Stoneforge Mystics, stops you from playing fetch lands, which makes playing the second color a lot more difficult.
Yeah, plus, you just have to play a bunch of Ghost Quarters, which are just complete trash without Arbiter in play. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I thought Arbiter was kind of the X factor for those decks, but that was before you got Imperial Recruiter, man. Like, now with Imperial Recruiter, everything changes. You just kind of do whatever you want.
There's a much higher density of just good cards in the white decks now that you don't need to get gimmicky.
Yeah.
I have a mediocre 6 that I'm keeping.
Yeah, me too.
And I'll lead on a Sacred Foundry.
All right, we'll fetch a Snow
Todd, 4
Forest.
for 4 on turn 1 vials today. Me, 0 for 1.
All right, well, Utopia Sprawl. I'm going to name white.
I will play Inspiring Vantage and Thalia, another excellent card in this matchup.
Yeah, that card's good. Hopefully we can out-mana the Thalia, though, with our stuff. All right. I said white on this, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'm going to fetch Snow Plains.
Brings you to 18.
All right, we're going to make 2 white and a green. We're going to use 2 white to play Thin Ice on this. And with the green floating, we're going to play Utopia Sprawl on this and name green.
Summit Canyon, I'm going to go to 19 and blow you up. I will flicker this Plains. Pass the turn.
Cool.
I love Flicker Wisp so much.
All right. Take 2.
You're
I'm
at
gonna play
16?
Present since they go.
Attack for 5.
11.
Play a Pillar Verge Pathway. And Skyclave Apparition, your Enchantress's Presence. Pass the turn.
Cool. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, do it again. Here we go.
Sack this canyon. Play another canyon. Attack for 7.
At 4.
And then I will play a Stoneforge Mystic. Trigger the Stoneforge.
Yep.
And I will find
Gonna get the big boy.
I kind of want to.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know. What else you gonna get?
I'm like wondering what I'm scared of outside of solitary confinement. I don't think you have like a sweeper of some kind. Yeah, I'll just get the Calder.
Draw for turn. Or actually, I have to hold that, I guess. Play confinement. Draw a card.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
My other 2 cards are Land Apparition.
Okay, cool. This deck is
Yeah.
very bad against Flicker Wisp and Apparition, apparently. Good lord, that was disgusting.
Yeah, my opening 6 after putting the card back was just 4 lands, Flicker Wisp, Thalia, but the Flicker Wisp ended up being incredible, and then I drew multiple apparitions that drew pretty well out of it. But yeah, on Thin Ice and Utopia Sprawl, not good against Flicker Wisp.
Okay, we're gonna shuffle over here and play another pre-board game. Anything for us, Rob?
Chet was just yelling about mistakes apparently that I didn't see until I just looked over.
Okay, well I paid for Thalia, so whatever.
Apparently you tried to Utopia Sprawl on Not a Forest.
Oh, I fetched the plains. You're right. Whatever.
Sure.
I could have got a Temple Garden. My life would have been 2 less. You're right. I did want to spread them out though. That's a good call.
Yeah, Sprawl.
Call me on my junk.
But if you got Temple Guard, then you'd have to put on Thin Ice on the other one. Either way, you're going to have 2 of the enchantments on one thing. But,
Yeah.
And if you put both Sprawls on one, then it's like, then I don't get the Thalia back, but you have 1 less mana.
Yeah.
Maybe you buy yourself an extra turn that way to rip another confinement.
All right. I'm going to keep my 7. Anything else for me? Any other mistakes I made? I do want to know all the little mistakes I make with this deck because there's a lot of moving pieces and I don't want to get stuff wrong.
I did have a question of why aren't you playing Greater Oromancy alongside Grows?
The version that did well in the challenge this past weekend was playing a bunch of Greater Oromancy. I didn't think you needed to play like 8 ways to protect your stuff from targeted, but maybe I'm wrong, and that's fine. I'm definitely okay just like getting my ass handed to me utterly, and then just like realizing that you could just play 4 more of the thing that protects you. Yeah. There's a very good chance that Blood Moon main deck is completely unnecessary. I kind of wanted it as like a way to snipe games in game 1 from like weird decks that I thought were bad matchups, like Tron.
Yeah, Tron also just seems like a heinous matchup. You just can't ever beat an Ugin.
Right, which is why I thought Blood Moon was nuts. So, but yeah. All right, my hand's good.
My hand's fine.
All right, Forest, Arbor Elf.
Brings you to 19.
Yeah.
I have Inspiring Vantage and Bolt Your Elf.
How the hell do you have Bolt in your deck? You're a Thalia deck. What are you doing?
I'm a Boros deck.
You're a Thalia deck.
Oh, so I can't play 1 mana spells? Now I get to play my Thalia on turn 2.
All right. That's gross. I did not expect that.
My spells are Bolt and Vial.
All right.
And Equipment. Very nice with Solitude and Skyclave Apparition, which are cards that you don't really want to use on 1 mana creatures, though you can in the case of Solitude, to have Bolt to answer them. That is going to be tough to beat.
Actually, I'm going to get
That was not good.
All right, so this is Sith's Harvest Hand. This is the new 2-drop Enchantress card. It's legendary. Whenever you play enchantment spell, you gain a life and draw a card. So
we'll play a Sacred Foundry.
Tapped. Okay. Would you like to cut?
No.
Utopia Sprawl on this and draw a card.
Yep.
All right. Is it cast? Yeah, cast. Okay, so this will resolve. I'll name.
You gain a life too. So you're at 20.
I'll name white.
Oh, but you fetched twice. You're still at 19. And you shocked for this?
Yes.
So you're at 17.
Okay. All right. Play this and draw a card and gain a life.
Yeah, you're at 18.
Here we go. I didn't hit a land drop, but that's okay. I only have 1 Destiny Spinner. Not sure how good or bad it is.
Well, I will play Pathway and flicker this forest.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Draw for turn. I wish this was the other one. The new one that taps for mana seems extremely good. All right. I'm going to shock 2.
I drew the land. That's not good. You're at 16.
I'll go ahead and play Enchantress Presence to kind of double up. Gain a life.
17.
I think I'm actually just fine attacking with this.
No blocks. 18.
Go. Can't block, right? So whatever. What do you have me at?
I have you at 17, me at 18.
Okay.
And I have not drawn very well. Attack for 3.
14.
Play Pillar Ridge Pathway. I'm going to play Imperial Recruiter. And I'm going to find Esper Sentinel and play that.
Okay, that only triggers once a turn, so
Yeah.
I'll probably just pay 1 and then not have to worry about it ever again.
Trying to restrict Todd's mana here as much as possible because he's going to be through a land again.
The problem is I don't have Nykthos or something like that, and like I kind of want like a big burst of mana so I can actually play all these cards out of my hand. Normally I would have more mana because I'd have like Arbor Elf going and Utopia Sprawl, but Ross was able to pretty handily deal with both of those, so I also missed a land drop 1 turn, but we're obviously clawing back from the missed land drop. This is not exactly viable right now. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to pay 1, so you can draw a card.
Okay, and you draw
and
2
I'll draw
cards.
2 and gain a life. I go to 15.
Yep.
And then I'll play Thin Ice on this, and I'll draw 3 and gain life.
Here at 16.
Yep. And then attack.
I'll go to 16.
Your turn. I have to discard, sorry.
Yep. Okay. I'll play Sunbait Canyon.
Really want to find the Grove now. Sterling Grove.
I'm going to play Imperial Recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to find Stoneforge Mystic. Go to 15 to cast it.
Mm-hmm.
Stoneforge is going to find Maul of the Skyclaves. Then I'm going to pitch Maul of the Skyclaves to my Solitude.
You're going to exile the Sithis.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to gain 1 life up to 17.
Where's my Maul? Oh, did I not include a Maul in this version of the deck? That
Probably
would be-
cut it. You don't have a white card in hand to pitch otherwise.
Nope.
You could just pitch Stoneforge instead and then have 2 mana.
I feel like there was, but
You
I'm
might have
not
cut it
seeing it.
or something. I know that it was like on my list to cut pretty early.
I just know that this deck has gone through many iterations. I'm not sure exactly which one
We can just pretend it's in the deck because it should be in the deck, especially if you're going to play Solitude.
Oh my god, that's just incredibly awkward. Okay. Then I'm just going to hardcast the Solitude.
Okay, that's fine too.
So
You still take 1. You're
Yeah,
at
yeah.
15.
you still go to 17,
then you
and then I attack for 2.
and I go to 15.
Yep. So you're at 15. I'm at 15.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
All right, so we still have our engine online, but I just don't have a ton of mana, so we're going to work on trying to do that for the next few turns. Is this non-creature or instant sorcery? Okay, it's non-creature. All right, I'm going to pay the 1 for the Sentinel. I'm going to Utopia Sprawl on this so you don't draw. I'm going to draw 2.
Yep.
Tap this for 2. I name green, whatever. I'm going to play another Utopia Sprawl, and I'm going to name white. I'm going to draw 2. Alright, let's tap this for 2 white and this for a green. I'm going to Thin Ice the Solitude on... See, the Plains has this. We'll
Yep.
do Force has this. Yep.
So now you have green-white.
Green white, and then I'm going to play, I'll draw 2 more cards. Then I'll play a Sanctum Weaver and draw 2. And tap for 2.
I'm at 13.
10, 11.
You have 11 cards in hand?
Yeah, I got to discard 4. I'm just going to discard a bunch of lands. And a Sanctum Weaver.
Okay, I'm going to play a Stoneforge Mystic, get Sword of Fire and Ice, play a Vial,
Okay.
and pass the turn.
Sanctum Weaver getting on tap is ludicrous here. This should be enough to close it out, probably.
I
Draw.
would imagine so.
Alright, so land for turn. So let's go 4, 5, play Sigil, and I'll draw 2.
Oh.
Let's go. Sorry, this is tapped.
So you have 3 untapped.
Yeah, plus this.
You currently have 9 enchantments on the battlefield.
Alright, let's go Abundant Growth on this. Draw 2 and make a...
Well, you draw 3. You want off the growth, too.
Okay, yeah, draw 3 and
Make an angel.
make an angel.
Now we're at 10 enchantments on the battlefield.
All right, let's make 10 green.
Yeah. Oh, I assume you didn't pay for this because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
at
you
all.
can draw a card.
Yeah.
So 9
Got it.
green. I'm going to use a white, play this, make another full 4.
8 green floating.
9 green floating.
A 9 green floating.
I'll draw 2.
Yep.
And tap this for white because of the abundant growth. Play another Sterling Grove, have 8 green floating.
This is okay. Everything's fine.
6 green floating, draw
It's all
2.
going to be okay.
4 green floating, draw 2.
Everything's going to be fine. We're going to make it through this.
1 green floating, draw 3. And 0 green floating, draw 2, make another angel. And I'll move to discard.
About 13.
I guess.
Hey, you never know. Maybe Todd will accidentally deck himself.
I was thinking about it, honestly, so I'm going to try to be a little careful. 1, 2, 3,
Well-
4, 5, 6. I get 1 back. I'll keep one of these lands, I guess.
All he has to do is untap and attack.
Maybe. I might not attack.
And I'm very dead. I just drew a bunch of equipment that game. Mucked up my hand.
Yeah. It's like the downside of playing Stoneforge in a non-brainstorm deck,
That's why I wanted to get the Stoneforge to play that turn and then just pitch for the Solitude, was because I had Cauldron Complete and Batterskull, so I really wanted to start getting those down.
Yeah.
And I thought I came up with a clever line to find the white equipment, so
Well,
I'd have a card to pitch.
So I'm assuming you have Cauldra and 2 Swords of X and Y?
I have Batterskull, Cauldra, and a sword.
Okay. I think an 80 card deck, you could just play 4. It wouldn't be that bad.
So there's a version of this deck that is more recent that is in my article that I believe has 4 equipment.
Okay.
But there's just a lot of cards. Even in an 80 card list, you have to make some tough cuts.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, dude. Mana Dork, getting untapped with that thing? Holy moly. That's like kind of the whole point, right? It's just like Sarah Sanctum and Sanctum Weaver.
Yeah. And anytime you're generating that amount of mana, and you're also drawing cards, you just snowball so quickly,
Right.
like you saw.
Yeah, I just got to untap 1 time with it, and it's just like berry.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break here, tied 1-1, see if I can avoid the sweep, but we're going to get some sideboard set up and then come back and finish this match here on Versus Live, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Boros Taxes and Naya Enchantress. On my side of things, just bringing in all of the cards that can profitably interact with Todd's game plan, because if those synergies get going, you saw what happens in game 2. He just runs away with the game, and he does it very quickly. So extra copies of Sanctum Prelate, extra copies of Phyrexian Revoker, which are going to hit Sanctum Weaver and Arbor Elf.
Yep.
That's basically the only 2. I guess I could hit Seal of Cleansing too.
Sure.
Which is not the worst. But not a ton of targets, but the ones that it does have are very high value. And then the last copy of Solitude, there's 3 in the main deck, so I'll have a full 12 removal spells between Bolt, Solitude, and Skyclave Apparition, not to mention Blink effects. And then bringing out cards that don't interact well, but we're both bringing out Moon effects, so by 1 tutor target Magus. Dire Fleet Daredevil, obviously bad against a deck without instants and sorceries.
Yeah.
And then Wall of Omens is the slow, grindy card. That's not what this game is about. This game is about me stopping Todd from doing what he's doing and getting the game over. Wall of Omens does neither of those things, so cutting as many as I possibly can. Honestly, I think I'm actually going to bring in this Crater Maker over the 4th, because this can kill one of your creatures as well.
Yeah, sounds good. My side, Blood Moon is actually not horrible against Ross because he is almost a purely white deck with a ton of red-white duels, and I could kind of leave him stranded with some white cards in hand. I think the problem, though, comes when he starts playing some of his basics, which I'm sure he has a reasonable amount.
And 10 or 12-ish between fetches and basics.
And Ether Vial, which can let him just play most of the cards in his hand without much trouble. So I think Blood Moon is more in this deck specifically to help fight some of your harder matchups like the Titan decks and the Urza decks. And I think that Seal of Cleansing here is just a way to pop off some of the random creatures that are randomly enchantments, as well as just being able to take care of some of your equipment. Non-Cauldra, obviously, because it has indestructible for some reason.
And potentially Vile if,
Yeah, and Ether Vial. There's plenty of targets. It's good. I think cards like Seal Cleansing could just end up seeing a ton of main deck play too, because they bust up Urza's Saga.
Yeah, Steel Cleansing, also a very good card with Luris. I expected to see significant play over its.
Yeah, I've been wanting it in Modern for a long time. I'm very happy they put it in there.
Yeah, I was surprised at how few people, it's an easy card to overlook, but I think it's going to be a very good sideboard card.
Yep. All right, any questions for us while we're shuffling up here for game 3?
Yeah, Stay just wanted to know what do you think about Cauldra Complete? Do you think that it is a card that gives Stoneforge Mystic decks a bigger clock than just Batterskull?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it obviously does that. The question is whether or not the cost is worth it, because it's going to be stranded in your hand a lot more often than Batterskull will be.
Sure.
And because of that, I like it in decks that have ways to force their Stoneforge Mystic through. If you're leading Stoneforge Mystic or leading into your Stoneforge Mystic with a Thoughtseize or an Inquisition of Kozilek to take that early removal spell, you can see that the coast is clear, then Cauldra Complete makes sense. I like Cauldra Complete in a deck like this with Giver of Runes to help protect the Stoneforge Mystic. And I would like it in any deck that has ways to, brainstorm it back with Jace or something like that, or discard it to value if you have like Seasoned Pyromancer and a Mardu kind of deck.
Yeah.
So you got to have ways to either utilize the card in your hand in some other way, or ways to make it more likely that you're going to get to activate the Stoneforge Mystic on turn 3. Failing those, I think I would steer clear of it.
Yeah, I think it's just like better than Batterskull because it's harder to kill, and putting into play gives you immediacy in the attack, and it's bigger, and it has haste. So like all those things make it, I think, a higher upside to Batterskull because you're not really casting Batterskull that often anyway. And I think it should just take over it, right? Because I think untapping with a Stoneforge Mystic with Batterskull in your hand is almost game over in most fair matchups. So like Cauldron Complete feels like almost the exact same thing, except it's way harder to deal with the actual Batterskull if you have like Cole against command and stuff.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Like, I don't think it makes Stoneforge Mystic like too good or anything like that. I initially thought like, what the hell, but
It was sort of like what we all thought when we first saw Batterskull in New Phyrexia after dealing with Stoneforge Mystic and sort of Feast and Famine for 4 months.
Yeah. All right, how's yours?
Not great, but it's a keep.
Yeah, same. Not great, but a keep.
Hey, I'll lead on advantage.
Oh, actually, I should not have this card in my deck. That's a mistake. If we play a 4th game, I'll cut it, and I'll talk about why. All right, Sprawl here. I'll name green.
I'll play Mesa, get a Plains, and play a Thalia.
Okay.
You're up.
All right. Paying the 1, we'll play a Sprawl here.
That is not a legal play.
Oh, crap. Sorry. I did it again. All right, sorry. I'll fetch for Temple Garden and do it. I have 2 Snow Plains in my deck, I think, and I just keep thinking I can put Utopia Sprawl on them. I've played I played a good bit of Enchantress back in the day with the play patterns, including Wild Growth, that you could just play on any land.
Yeah. So you're at 17, I'm at 19.
So, yeah. So pay the 1, play another Utopia Sprawl, and then I'll, for 2, I'll name white on this one. So green here, white here, and I'll just play a Sanctum Weaver and say go. So we have a potential big burst of mana next turn if he can't handle it. What, need a 3rd land?
Yeah.
I don't have a payoff yet. So.
Stack.
All right.
You're 15, you can go.
That was good. That was real good. The Thalia is still a little awkward, but not that bad. All right, so green-white, play Sithis. I know he doesn't have removal because he would have killed this. 1, 2, 3. We'll play Sterling Grove and draw a card with 0 floating. Gain a life. I'm at 16. Tap this for green.
5
green. We'll play 3 green, Abundant Growth, draw 2 cards and gain a life. I'm at 17.
Yep. 3 green floating.
And then go to 1 green, play this, draw a card, and I'll name white.
You go up to 18.
18. And then Do I bother with popping the Sterling Grove? I don't think so. Here go. I just want to keep myself protected from targeted stuff now. Sterling Grove just, I don't know, flexing a little bit. You can still bust up the Temple Garden with a Flicker Wisp, but I have so much mana on Sanctum Weaver that doesn't matter as much anymore.
Just drew a million more 3-drops.
Yeesh. Okay.
Had a bunch of good interaction. Just needed a third land.
Yeah. Got plenty of time.
Yeah, let's play
19 minutes. At least one more. See if you can get you a turn 1 Vial.
Can't ever do that.
Yeah. What you got for me, Rob?
If you'd watched Versus Live over the last 2 years, you would know I'm very good at the turn 6 Vial,
Yeah.
turn 1 Vial.
Well, turn 1 Vial, then draw a Vial 3 turns in a row, right?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Elves and the addition of Quarian Ranger to the format?
That's a you question.
Yeah, I mean, I have a brewed up deck list with Quarian Ranger that uses Cloudstone Curio and tries to combo off. I just don't think the deck is powerful enough, especially in the face of Lava Dart and Renin 6. But there's a metagame where I think it can be good, especially if people start fighting these living end decks and worried about those kind of unfair decks, and they're a little bit less worried about just dealing with regular creatures because the living end decks are pushing out creature decks. Then you can find some space to be doing things with elves, because Quarian Ranger and Elvish Archdruid is definitely a combo.
So the card that I wanted to change was Solitary Confinement, because Ross's deck has a lot of ways to actually just get it off the battlefield. So we're actually just going to bring Blood Moon in over that, because Blood Moon might actually make him not be able to cast any of his things that could deal with my enchantments. And if I play it on turn 2, there might be a chance where he's just not set up if he doesn't have Vial or a fetch land, and it still cycles to draw cards and doesn't affect me at all unless I get Temple Garden. So
Okay. I will gladly keep this hand.
oh,
I'm going to make 3 land drops. You're going to
be
play
insulated
multiple
from Blood Moon.
spells.
Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
I'll lead on a Sacred Foundry tapped.
Okay. Utopia Sprawl, name white. Go.
Stoneforge Mystic. Get Calder complete.
Okay. Fetch. Named white on that, right?
Yeah.
I don't. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna green white on this. I'm gonna go with a white floating. Play Abundant Growth here. Draw a card, and then tap this for a green and play a Sterling or Sanctum Weaver. Your turn. Just trying to cycle through here, looking for our, combo-centric elements. I could have played Sterling Grove over the Sanctum Weaver, but diminishing returns and all that. And he's like heavily incentivized to Cauldron this turn, so.
I do really want to Calder this turn. Just because I think ending the game quickly is very important.
Mm-hmm.
5 cards in hand right now.
Yes. I'm at 19, you're at 20 still?
Yeah. Either option is to play a couple other spells. I still don't have a great follow-up next turn. And I leave myself vulnerable to removal. Yeah, I'm going to put in the Cauldron.
Yep. Ouchies.
Something that vigilance do? No. First
No.
strike, trample, indestructible haste. That'll bring you to 14.
Yep.
And then I'm going to evoke Solitude on the Sanctum Weaver, pitching Esper Sentinel.
All right, and it's power, right? So no life.
Yes.
'Kay.
Pass the turn.
Awkward.
Could have pitched something else and played the Sentinel this turn, but Todd's probably going to get to 4 mana here, and I think he'd pretty easily just play a 3-drop and pay the 1. You get a 13.
Yep. All right, I'm going to go for Sterling Grove,
Yep.
and then I'm going to deny the Germ token.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And say go.
End step, fetch the Mesa. Get another Foundry. So now I'm at 19.
I'm at 13.
Yep.
Solitude. All the pitch evoke creatures are just so good, man. They just allow you to do some really dirty stuff if you can gain some just minor card advantage.
Attack for 1.
12. Guess that's good. That means he doesn't have a sword in hand. Sword would be kind of scary here.
Oh, I will play. What am I even gonna play? I'm gonna play the Sanctum Prelate. I'm not sure what I want to name.
Sure.
If I name 3, which is the most disruptive to what Todd is doing, you can always just sack the Sterling Grove and find another Anthonice. But then I would deal with the Sterling Grove, which is not the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And if I name 1, then I stop all future Anthonices, and I probably protect all my other creatures. But you can probably play something more impactful from your hand, and I also cut off several good draws from my deck. Really just Bolt. Vial would not be great. I think I'm just going to name 3.
Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
Well, now I don't know what to do. I was thinking about going to go to Enchantress's Presence, but
Yeah, that's probably not a good play now.
yeah. I think so. I can go get Empty Throne, Sigil of the Empty Throne, but I don't really have any juice to go with it yet. My hand's just all air. So I kind of just want to take a natural draw and just try to draw some sort of like the 2-mana Enchantress and hope that I can kind of chain off next turn. This is like kind of gross. I also might want to save that for Thin Ice if I draw Enchantress's Presence. Next turn I go Thin Ice Presence, and that would be pretty good. So
Yeah.
all right, draw. Play a Weaver. Here you go.
And Seb, crack the Mesa. I'll go to 18.
Yep.
Get another basic Plains in case of Blood Moon. Don't need more than 2 red sources.
If that covered.
You have 2 in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Attack with the Prelate.
Yep. 10.
Yep.
I don't really want to crack these, so.
Play Phyrexian Revoker.
Okay, so he's just gonna name Sanctum Weaver. He might name Sterling Grove though. Probably if I get Sigil, I'm not gonna be able to do anything next turn anyway, because I just like don't have anything in my hand. So I guess, but he doesn't know that. So, but he also saw me pass with what 2 spare mana. So I don't know, 3 spare mana. I feel like the hexproof is actually, or sorry, the shroud of this is actually just pretty good. Okay, that's fine.
I'm going to Sanctum Weaver.
Yep.
And then I'm going to crack another Mesa, go to 17, get another Plains, and buy the Yorion.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Man, it would be like super cool if I could play one enchantment that just vanishes all your creatures for however many creatures you have. Card would be kind of cool here. I just don't know what to sack for with Sterling Grove, man. I just like don't have anything set up yet. But like maybe I just have to go ahead and get the Enchantress creature. I don't know. I feel like you just have a thing in hand that's going to blow me out if I do that. So I'm just going to just hope I naturally draw something. Okay. You win. I have lands.
You just have all lands?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think you're beating this Yorion.
No. Ripperoni.
I think at that point, I think my plan was to reset the prelate and just name 1, so I protect the Caldra.
Okay. All right, you want to try to get in a quick one? Is 10 till, 9 till?
No, we can take a question, and then we got subs and stuff. And
All right, cool.
what do you got, Rob?
Nothing.
So, do you think that control has a spot in the way the metagame is shaping up? Do you feel like people can return to their Snapcaster mages?
I think control is always going to have a spot. We just need to see things shake out, and then the control decks will know what to target and figure out what to play. I think there's enough cheap disruption for them to contend in metagames with all these cascade cards, the way those are running around. It's just going to take a little while, like it always does. But yeah, there's plenty of good, blue interaction. Blue control decks have been a staple of Modern now for several years. Archmage's Charm, Force of Negation, Teferi, both Teferis.
Yeah, Force Negation specifically. I mean, before the Modern Horizons 2 came out, I know that Blue-White specifically with Teferi 5 was all over the place, and it was like one of the big engines that made Force Negation so good because the card disadvantage didn't really hurt that bad. And
yeah, it just made it so much easier for you to tap out for that Planeswalker.
Right.
You didn't have to wait for a really convenient turn to do it.
Yep, and that coupled with like Teferi Time Raveler just made it like, guarantee that it was going to resolve most of the time or whatever. So
Counterspell's an upgrade for them over the mana leaks and stuff that they used to play.
Yeah, it is a little harder to play Counterspell if you want to play basic planes at all, though. But maybe you can.
They're already
counteract
playing
that with-
Archmage's Charm, so
Sure, yeah, if you're already playing Archmage's Charm, that's fair. All right.
It'll be there. Just give it some time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would actually love to see a control deck that plays, like, 3 main deck Rest in Peace and just, like, doesn't play any graveyard stuff. I mean, that's, like, maybe a little overboard or whatever, but whenever anyone played main deck Rest in Peace and Legacy, I was always thrown for a loop, but it was usually really good, so.
Anything else, Rob?
I was going to say, as far as questions, this is about all I have right now.
Okay. Well, why don't we thank some subs, then we can thank some sponsors, and wrap up the show.
All right. Got a few subs today. Hugh Flong,
Thank you.
Benjamin U. Dover, subscribed for a month.
Oh, Ben Dover? I know that guy.
And those are our 2 for today. So thank you to both of our subs and all of our other subs.
Thank you for that support, and if you would like to support Star City Games in another way, you can join SCG Premium. $7.99 a month will get you access to exclusive content from our wonderful staff of content creators, as well as some other perks, which are 5% off of sealed product, 10% off of singles, and 15% off of supplies. So head on over to starcitygames.com/join-premium and sign up today.
Yep, you can also check out Colas Apparel. They have a lot of awesome.
I promise you it's more than this one shirt.
Yes, we both wore the same Mana Screw shirt today, but colasapparel.shop for all of your needs. Use gift code SCG at checkout, or SCG10.
SCG.
And you get 10% off your whole order. There's a ton of awesome shirts. I own like 30 of them.
Yeah, very comfortable.
And I wear them every day, even when no one's paying me.
It's basically all Corey wears at this point.
I mean,
I wear them a lot too.
I mean, it's Corey. He'd be at the thrift shop getting his, thrift on regardless. So, It is what it is.
Our other sponsor is Carnox Chairs. If you like the chairs that we sit in, you can check those out at carnox.com/SCG and be sure to use that affiliate link because that will get you 10% off of your purchase there as well.
Yep. We're also still taking pre-orders, I think, for Modern Horizons 2. Is it out yet? It's like very
No,
close
it's not
to
out
being
yet.
It's like it's been out on Magic Online for almost a week already, so I'm getting kind of thrown off here. But
Yeah, the
if you go to starseagames.com/previews, you can pre-order singles or you can pre-order some sealed product. There are a couple cards that have already shown that they're going to be great, and you can still maybe get those for a little cheaper than you might normally because the market hasn't quite gotten there yet. But scg.com/previews, get some sealed product, buy your Modern Horizons boxes before they're all gone, get you some cool new cards like Ragavan or Urza Saga or any of the other busted, absolutely monstrous cards from this set. Get them now.
And if you need to pick up a little extra cash to buy those sweet MH2 cards or sealed product, keep in mind that SCG is always buying cards, and the process has never been easier because there's so many ways to do it. You can use the buy list feature on the website. You can mail in your cards and let SCG do the work for you. You can make an appointment and do everything in person in the store. Or if your collection is big enough, you can make an appointment and have SCG come to you. And also keep in mind that when you are trading in cards for store credit, you will get a 30% bonus on that trade-in.
What's the sale this week, Ross?
The sale this week is on standard legal singles. What's the discount on it, Rob?
10%.
10% off this week on the sale there.
Anything standard legal. So if you need to pick up some of those Eldraine cards that are rotating soon, but are going to be awesome in Modern or Pioneer or historic. If historic becomes a real life format, which I hope it does. Holy moly, it's been fun. You can get that right now.
Yep.
StarSgames.com/sale. We have a new sale every single week, so make sure to just bookmark that link if you ever want to see what the sale is. It lasts, every week,
Yep.
and there's a new one every time.
The sale is going to keep going until this coming Monday at 10:59 a.m. Eastern Time, and then at 11 a.m. the next one starts. So
Yeah.
there's always a sale going on at SCG. Like Rob said, this week is going to be at 10% off of standard legal singles, so take advantage of that while you can. Well, Todd, it has been great having you here. This is the last of your 3 shows.
It is.
We will have Corey back at our regularly scheduled time on Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, right on this channel. Hope you all enjoyed Todd being here as much as I did. Why are you giving me that incredulous look?
Because you are forgetting the most important thing.
What is that?
Literally the thing that I have been wanting for 2 damn years. You reach your ass over there and you grab me those marbles and you put them on the table because they are mine and they are going home with me today. Whoever wins can challenge me in a future day and they can try to win these marbles back, but these puppies are mine and I earned them. Thank you.
Won 5 out of the 6 matches last week, but apparently that doesn't count.
Oh, you won the marbles last week. What are you talking about? It's a reset every time. You don't just because your match win percentage against me is 52% doesn't mean that you're guaranteed the marbles every week. It's not fair. It's not how it works.
Okay. Well,
Also, how many games did you win last week versus how many games I won? I want you to figure that one out and then come back to me because it's
I don't remember.
I think you won 2 more games than me total, 1 each day. So.
Well,
I won quite a few more games today than that.
We'll get our statisticians on that, and we'll get back to you there, and we'll do the calculations.
All right.
We'll get some advanced stats in there. We got our Magic Analytics team.
We'll let Corey take care of the stats, and
That is
who
not a
knows what
good
they'll
idea.
be.
Yeah. They're the one.
Well, thank you all for joining us here today. Like I said, Corey will be back on Thursday at our regularly scheduled time at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, Todd, thanks for being here. Hope to see you again soon. But that is going to be all for us today. For Rob, Todd, I'm Ross. We will see you on Thursday.
Bye.